See if it catches up. Right, I can see a few have come on. Good evening all. Lee Ashby here, Mx Speedway Memories. I'm going to be live on here this evening with Mr. Neil Evitts. So it should be interesting. I've not seen any interviews of Neil anywhere. So it should be very interesting. I'm just going to go on my Facebook because I'm hoping to get all you guys and girls that are coming on Facebook so I can see your name. So I'm just going to click on the link now in my group just to put it in the comments. And then hopefully you guys and girls on Facebook, basically it's annoying. You have to do it every time. Click on the link just to basically give your Facebook permission. So I've just put one in there. So now I'm going to do another one here as well. And then hopefully when you all speak, see like this one here, otherwise I won't be able to see who I'm quoting to Neil or whoever. So basically, look, I'm putting a couple of links now. If you click on them. Hi Phil, how's it going? Oh, there's quite a few of you on as well tonight already. Hi Tina. Feeling a little bit better, still just taking my little herbal cough things and my throat starts messing about as I'm about to come on a live. Evening, Martin. How's it? Hope you're good. Hi, Neil. Thanks for coming on. So I can see all you guys, so that's great. Just one here that I can't see, so hopefully they'll sort out. I can see Keith as well. Brilliant. Evening, Keith. So I can see you on here. I can see you, Libby. Can't see this person here, but hi. Hi, John. None, actually. Not sure who that is either, so I'm hoping a few of you can click on this link. Look, I'm going to just put it in my other one as well, just to make sure. So that now should be on my own Facebook, in my group, and on my page. So hopefully you guys and girls can click on that link. And then I'll be able to quote you personally to Neil if you've got a question. Otherwise, it's a bummer if I can't see your name. It's just annoying. You've got to do it every time. There's quite a few of you guys that just come on that are not registered. Look, hi Lee, not sure who that is. Hello, hello, hello. Hopefully you can click on this link. And there's another one there waving. So I can see you, Bob. How's it going? Mr. Lawrence Rogers, how's it going, my friend? Birmingham man. Got a nice video off the new team manager as well that I might share with you guys about my reunion 4 in April. Let's bang it on, shall we?
Hi guys, Sam Malenko here. Lee Ashby's asked me to remind everybody that Reunion 4 coming up at Monster Mountain on April 27th and 28th. Book your tickets now. See you there.
Awesome to have Birmingham back up into the top league. So definitely want to try and go up there a couple of times this year, for sure. And I'm going to try and pop down to Oxford a few times as well, with them being in free leagues as well now, sorry. So that's quite exciting as well. Hopefully you guys that just come on there can click on. I can see Ian, I can see you, Simon. How's it going? Foot is postponed. Evening, Gary. I can see Jacob here. There's a couple more just come on I can't see. So hopefully you guys and girls, I'll just go back up to the top again. Quite a lot of you online already. Whoa, we're nearly on 100 live already. Amazing. I'm also live on Instagram, Ashby Robbins and Mx Speedway Memories. I'm live on the YouTube channel, Mx and Speedway Memories. I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well. So the Instagram's a new thing as well, so that's great. They've been talking about that for a long time, so I'm actually live on there as well. But the only thing I've got to do is go back onto there and check when the guys and girls are on, see if any of the guys and girls say anything on Instagram, which I didn't do the other day because it's separated from this. It's not actually on the comments. So I see even Jamie Dobb was on and stuff like that with Seth Enslow. When I had Seth Enslow on, I didn't quote his comments. That was a bit of a bummer. Hi, Mark. How's it going? He's on YouTube. Can see Bat Dad himself. How's it going, mate? Can see you, Ian. So that's all good. Hope you're good. Love to get that man on as well, eh? On your profile picture there, Mr. Bewley. It'd be cool to get him on one evening, wouldn't it? Evening, Justin Walker. So we got well over 100 on live. Amazing. Start to the evening. Happy days on the junior grass and 70s Evo, Crossy and Diath in our class alone. Hopefully, whoever that legend is, get hooked up. Because there's a few of you on here, look. Hey, buddy. Whoever that is, hopefully. So all you people all you ladies and gents on Facebook, I need you to you can either just literally come out of this live quickly, go up on the post and click on the link, come back in, should register your name, or go back up to the top of these comments and you should be able to see one of these comments I've put in there, look, and click on that. And it should help, and it should get you on there with your name, like the legend himself, Mr. Barney Kennett. How are you, my friend? You're all interested in this one then, Mr. Neil Evitts. I always say Evitts. It turns from Evitts to Everts a little bit. Getting the motocross thing in. Someone said to me Evitts, and I'm like, Evitts. Hi, Peter, I can see you. We all friends now. I'm not sure who that is, so I'm hoping you can click on the link and get yourselves in here, because I see Mr. Rossiter. How's it going? Proper Robbins legend. The man's on. Good man. I'm sure he's probably rode. I think I've got a picture of you with Neil Evitts and stuff like that in the Team GB picture. I think might even be in Australia potentially. Yes. Anyone that's going to the Eastbourne Eagles supporters thing on this Saturday night, 6 p.m. What club is that at, Barney? I've got it on here. So I'm taking my Popolina. We're going to stay in a Premier Inn overnight on the Saturday, because it's about a 3-hour drive for me. It's at Langley Sports Club. 6 p.m, free entry. Special guests there, riders, Barney Kennett. I think there's more Kennetts there as well now, Barney. I've been speaking to Mr. Norris as well, so you never know. And Dean Parker and the guys. Mr. Stead's on as well. Hello, Mr. Stead. Yes, I've got a nice picture of that as well. So that'd be a good one. Mr. McConnell's on as well. Hello, my friend. Another legend. There's loads of people on here tonight. Awesome. Up now, nearly 120 people on here live already. All three of the Kennetts. Hello. I can see you, Doug. You've done it as well. Fair play. Another legend I've had on here on live was awesome. Beautiful. Oh, sorry. I'm giving it a, you never know. You never know. You just never know. Look, I'm even having a drink for the second or third interview on the trot. What's going on, Mr. Norris? You're a bad influence. There's nothing to do with it. 100%. What's going on tonight? We've got 125 on live now. Holy moly. All right, let's get the man in. Even Neil has just messaged me going, it's gone off. It's because you haven't given there's no interviews out there of Neil Evitts I know about. Yep, see, everyone's all reminiscing, all right? Flyer wire, evening skip. Not sure what that is, but hopefully you can click on the link before we start. Still got the pulling power here. British champion, eh? In the heydays. Hi, Tony. Don't forget to come on though. I'm going to do another live auction soon as well for you guys and girls. We did an amazing one for Mr. Steve Bishop's son Sam, and we raised over 3,000. It was unbelievable quality. And I've actually got Steve Bishop on tomorrow night live at 8 p.m. UK time for those that are interested. So Steve Bishop will be on tomorrow night, 8 p.m. UK time. I know the family is very grateful for what we raised. Barney Kennett put in a Canterbury race jacket. We had a signed motocross seat cover. We had all of Steve's jackets. There was like 22 of his career jackets, like Exeter, Swindon Robbins. I even got one. I put in the what did I put in? Oh, I put in my dad and Martin's Daytona boots with a steel shoe still on it, and a Lee Adams front fork cover. Also, Mr. Joe Broadbank put in Mike Broadbank's farewell testimonial race jacket as well, so it's really cool. And like I said, Steve's son Sam Bishop had a major accident at motocross. And then just to take the total biscuit, while he was recovering from cracked vertebrae, damaged spleen, all this sort of stuff in hospital, he then got his van nicked with all the bike and the tools and the kit. So he had absolutely nothing while he was trying to recover in hospital. Unbelievable. So massive thanks to everyone that's contributed. There is a GoFundMe page as well on Steve Bishop's. He's under Stephen Bishop on Facebook, or Sam Bishop. But yeah, managed to, first ever live auction we did. I was proper scared because I was really wanted to do well for them, and I just didn't know how it was going to go. It was my first. I probably still got me wooden spoon up here I used somewhere. Come on, Neil, you're going to get excluded for the 2-minute time allowance in a minute. Oh, Alf Busk as well. So many legends on tonight. Had a good interview with Alf Busk as well. You should check on my YouTube channel. It's free to subscribe on there. Check them all out in your own time. There's loads on there live. When I get to the end of this, I normally quote all the riders on there for you to go and check out. You can do it in your own time. Look, there's some beautiful ones on there. Mr. Alf Busk is on there as well. Tom Evitts, legend bringing Paul and Neil up on the junior grass track scene. Need to go back to those days. Hopefully you can click on so we can see it. Hi Neil, what's your memories of Jens Rasmussen? And apparently there was some history between you both. Oh, we'll have to bring that up. He was actually early to start with. I said to him, if you can click on at 10 past, I'll get all the guys and girls, try and get him sorted out on Facebook, you know, clicking on the link and all that. And then I think he come on too early, and I said to him, you don't need to come on until 10 past. Not sure who this is, but hopefully you guys and girls, just before I get Neil on, flipping out, we got over 130 on live already. So just to give you a heads up, everyone that's on Facebook, if you're on either my Facebook page, my Facebook group, or my Facebook, look, I've put in a couple of links. You can just basically scroll up through your comments, click on one of these links, or I won't be able to see your name or quote it to Neil. So I'm hoping you can scroll up, look, click on these links, or you either just come out of the live video, go on the post, click on the link, then come back in. Then it should be there. Just speaking to Neil, he says, I'm on here. It's like, no, you're not. He's probably watching the actual me on there, aren't you, Neil? Are you watching me? Oh, right, I'll just copy and paste that link again, Neil. I reckon he's just on the live watching the video, probably. You're not one of the fans tonight, Neil. You're the star guest tonight. I've sent you it again, the link, and then you click on that. I expect he's watching the video on here. Hi, Matt. Hope it's good. Hope you're doing a good job up the old Monster Mountain, my friend. When am I coming up and having a little ching, 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 ching in the digger? And oh my God, I might have some mental news for our Reunion 4 at Monster Mountain. Motocross Speedway Memories, Reunion 4. It's a global thing, let's put it that way. Unbelievable if I get that person there. Glenn Cunningham will be late. Oh, you're good, Glenn. We're due, aren't we? When did we say? I remember you saying you could do January. Was it February or March? And yeah, I also was chasing up Richard Knight, and he put it off for till March, I think. And I think not Neil Evitts, I'm getting confused now. Sam Bishop tomorrow night, and we've had to put Phil Collins is back, so I think we're doing that now on Sunday, the 18th of February, with Phil Collins. I have also spoke to Neil Collins as well. He actually rang me. He's just been on holiday, so I'm going to get Neil Collins on as well. Still chasing Nicky Pedersen, 3 to 4 seasons in now. Neil's probably forgotten he's getting on. I can see why Neil's always said he never did interviews. Who can forget his brief appearance on Eurosport Discovery Plus with Scott Nichols at Bellevue last year? Oh, I'll have to ask him about this, Ryan. How's it going, Ryan? I think I seen you at when you did Andy Graham's night with his mechanic Gobby at Birmingham. I was there that night. Hope you're good, buddy. Do you do all the announcing stuff and don't you at Birmingham and stuff? Hopefully I'm going to come up a couple of times this year. I did come up recently to Andy and Jill's wedding anniversary party. It was really good. So I'm definitely coming up to see them a couple of times this year. Yeah. That tight, is it? I've been chasing Les Collins as well. I think Les is at the Speedway celebration thing in March, so I'll have to go and chase him up there. All right. Hopefully, I want you on here with me, Neil. I don't want you watching me. I've just resent you the link in the Facebook message. So if you can go in your Facebook message, Neil, Facebook messages, click back on that link that we tested that did work, so we know we're all good. Yes. Like I said, I had my 10 ton and over license on the digger, but I've only been on like work sites, you know, digging holes, loading up dumpers, all boring stuff, loading up topsoil, loading up stone, shingling and all this sorts of stuff. Been in sort of 6 tonners, 9 tonners. But yeah, you have to do your license and then the 13.5 tonner. But yeah, that would be a dream, mate, to get on a motocross track in a digger. So that would be amazing if I could get in the digger up at Monster Mountain and get on a bit of a live and have a shimmy round. It's been 2 or 3 years, but I'm sure it'll come back to me. That's exactly what you saw me. Great night that was, and yes, you can catch up on like apps very bottom. Beautiful. I'll see you there then. Hopefully. Oh, it looks like he might have come in now. Ah, here he is. I can see him. Yes, I am doing a part 2 with Calvin Tatum, whoever that is. Right. Let's get you in, Neil. Everyone's buzzing. Mr. Neil Evitts.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
I can hear you. Okay, beautiful. We got that light's good as well.
Well, I had to move from the conservatory because it's raining.
Ah, right. Yeah. It's raining here as well. Where are you actually based then, Neil?
I'm based in the Midlands in Netherton. I've lived there all my life.
Ah, I see. So, how are you then, Neil? Loads of people been in here already. We got loads of Speedway riders in here. We got Barney Kennett. I've seen Gary Stead, Glenn Cunningham, lots Alf Busk, Doug Wire, David Norris, Sean McConnell, Alan Rossiter. Rossiter told me to ask Neil about the Aussie trip.
I'm a very popular person, obviously.
You are, Neil. You are, Neil. Flat out tonight. So Roscoe wants me to ask you about the Aussie trip.
Well, I don't know if I can talk about that, to be fair, but
That bad, is it?
that's towards the end of my career.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, that was classic. Right then, Neil. So let's just take it back. So what have you been up to since your racing days then, Neil?
Well, lots of things. I never stand still. I always try and move on and do different things.
Mm-hmm.
The list is too many to mention. I've always had a transport company, which I stopped in about 2016. Obviously, I tuned engines.
Yep.
I had a coffee business. I've had a catering business.
Ooh. Was Mr. Davis all right with that?
Well, I'm not in his league, shall we say.
So, what are you doing in Speedway at the moment then?
Well, this year I'll be doing the same as I did last year. That's helping Jamon.
Mm-hmm.
So looking forward to that. Obviously, I've just had a hip replacement. It's three weeks today. I'm down to 1 crutch. And when you consider the last time, it took me about 8 weeks before I got off the crutches. So I'm a lot better than then. And obviously hoping to be fully fit by March.
Oh, fair play, Neil. So it sounds like you're a bit ahead of the schedule of the recovery this time then.
Well, I had a different surgeon and a different hospital this time, completely different. No screws. Fingers crossed.
Sounds good. John Westwood just said, what, there's no vodka and Diet Coke, Neil? Or was that our shot?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I expected to have this operation before Christmas, so I stopped drinking probably 6 weeks before the operation. I have had a couple of nights out, I will admit, but to be honest, I'm off the drink, shall we say.
Okay, even though this is very irregular for me, but even
But if
I'm
he
having
wants to buy me a drink, I'll take it.
Yeah, so John, if you want to buy Neil, he will take it. Even I'm having a drink tonight. Oh, right. So John Boston just said, do your physio.
I'm doing my exercises. I'll start proper physio on the 22nd, I think it is.
Okay, a couple of weeks' time then. What's this? They haven't got a name on this, but they put Neil, his dad Tom, his best friend, my dad Roger Humphreys. I know Neil Evitts. I help him clean his speedway clothes.
Well, if that's who I think it is, that's somebody who we knew when I very first started Speedway, a long, long time ago. I haven't seen him for years. You meet so many people. Speedway is fantastic. The community, kind of stick together. People love you when you're not so good. When you become good, people don't like you. And then when you're on the way down, people like you again.
That's it. In that order.
Indeed.
So how old were you when you had your first bike, and what bike was it exactly?
Well, right from I can remember, we always went to Speedway. My parents were involved in Cradley Speedway, the action committee. So, right from the time I can walk, I can remember going to Speedway. I can remember sneaking into the pits when I was about 8 or 9 years old. And I think me and my brother, we shared a bike. I was about 8, he would have been 11. And we shared a bike to start with. Then we got our own bikes, and then we started doing schoolboy grass track. My father started the Midland Club. We went all over the country, met a lot of good riders who've made their name in Speedway. So yeah, and I can remember to this day. I think my father, he used to earn about £17.50 a week.
Wow.
And we used to go grass tracking, as I said, sometimes Saturday and Sunday. And I remember kicking the ball through the window in my bedroom, smashed the window. It cost £5 to repair this window. And I think that's all my dad had left. So I don't know where we got the money. But obviously, when you're young, you don't care about that, do you? Just, life is too fast. But when you get a bit older, then you realise just how good your parents were to you.
Yeah. I get you. Someone had just put on there as well. Start from the beginning, Lee, with Neil's early days on the junior grass track, which you obviously just mentioned. From the beginning with Crossy and Diath and co. So who were some of the riders that you grew up with on the grass track then, Neil? Who were the sort of riders that everyone would know about?
The riders that you mentioned, my mother has in one of her photo albums, she has a picture, and there's about 30 or 40 of us on the back of a lorry going round the track before the meeting. I think it was in Lancashire somewhere. And there's probably 15 to 20 kids who all made it to Speedway. I'm not going to say they made a living out of Speedway, but they all made it to Speedway. They all had to go at Speedway. Phil Collins, Neil Collins, Louis Carr, Peter Carr. The list is endless. If I knew you was going to ask me that question, I'd have wrote a list. Neither did when I was racing. Simon Cross was my biggest rival. Me and him used to win most weeks.
Yeah.
Nigel Diethy was there as well. Kevin Price, unfortunately, is no longer with us. The list is endless.
Yeah, that's where everyone seemed to come from back then, wasn't it? From the grass track scene onto a lot of the good riders come from grass track onto that. Some even did motocross as well. But did you ever do any motocrossing at all in any way?
I did have a go at motocross. I didn't ever race in a competition. I just used to do it for a bit of fun, fitness, things like that. But motocross to me, I didn't like it when the wheels come off the floor. I didn't feel safe.
Didn't like the jumping.
No.
I get it. Simon Corbett here. I know he's a Cradley fan. He said, back in the day, Neil was public enemy #1 at Dudley Wood.
Well, I live literally a mile and a half from the stadium, and you know, in the early days, Roy Trigg was my favourite rider. He rode for Cradley, and of course, you would just naturally think that I would ride for Cradley. But I'll be perfectly honest,
Mhm.
I was never any good at Cradley. The first time I rode there, I got 11 points. I was only 16. I came third in the Golden Hammer. I had a run off with Tommy Knudsen and Simon Cross. I think I came third, came second to Simon Cross in the run off. And then once for Bradford, I won 3 races and came last in 1 race. And that is the only really good times I've ever had at Cradley. It's just one of those things. Everybody has a track that they don't like.
Mhm.
And of
Yeah, I
course,
get you.
they couldn't afford me either.
I love it. I like that, Neil. I like that. Brilliant. Oh, Sean Courtney's just come on and said, nice bloke, top rider.
Very, very nice of him to say so. Sure, I bump into him occasionally. Last year, I helped Sam Masters in the 2nd division. I think they call it is it the championship? They call it. It's in
Championship,
the
yeah,
second
that's
division.
it. Yeah.
So obviously, go all around all the 2nd division tracks, and I tell you, going to Oxford, there's Courtneys everywhere. There's about 5 or 6 of them.
So I should be able to get some of them onto a live interview then. I'm going to try and go to Oxford a couple of times again. There, that's actually where I met you there as well, wasn't it, in the pits? So
It is, yes. I saw you, and I tried to avoid you because I know you've been asking me to do this for some time. It's not something that I do very often.
I know, I do appreciate it.
And then
And
I
when
saw you, and I recognised you.
I spotted you, and I see you look at me and do that like. I know you want me on an interview, and I was like, yes, I do. He goes, I will do it one day.
Well, a lot of my friends, they watch these things,
Really?
and they talk to me. They ask me why I don't do it. And as I said to you, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for them.
That's beautiful. Love that. Got Libby Normanton here. She said, tell Neil he's always been my hero, #1 with a heart.
Yes, well, she was, yes, definitely one of my greatest fans. Her and her sister, they used to go all over the place. Their dad used to take them everywhere.
Let me see. I've also got Jack. I want to say his surname right. I'm going to have a run up, but I think it's called Jack Schmout.
Yes, I
And he said,
met him last year. He rides at Bellevue.
yeah.
He's in the 3rd division, I believe, and
Right, okay.
trying to make his way. And
Right.
to be honest, because of I can't push Jamin off because of my condition. So he stepped in for me at Bellevue last year. So I really appreciate that, and I have tried to help him in any way I can.
That's beautiful. He's just put, I hope you're well, Neil. Hopefully catch up at Bellevue soon.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to be there very soon.
Good luck with yourself as well, Jack. And Libby said, absolutely. Right, Neil. Right, I've got so many questions on here. I've absolutely gone mad. Right, so I've got Glenn Cunningham. Hello, Glenn. He's put, youth grass track was a breeding ground for Speedway years ago. Most of the top British riders came from youth grass track. That is something that has been missing over the last 20 years or so. Do you think that's affected the amount of riders we've had, Neil?
The problem is now, kids, they don't want to do sport, do they? They just want to go on their phones, go on the computers. Nobody wants to put some effort in to do sports like this. And when I was racing grass track, there's loads of clubs. We could ride Saturday, Sunday, all over the country, all different places.
Yeah.
And it's just not like that anymore. You even see that some senior grass tracks get cancelled because they don't have enough riders.
Well, that's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame.
Well, we need to try and do something about it. We need to try and move the sport on.
Yeah, there definitely something needs to happen on that side of things, doesn't it? I've got Mark here, just put, Neil, you are a legend. Excellent rider. A lot of nice comments tonight.
As I said to you, when you go up, nobody likes it, but when you come down, everybody likes you again.
I love it. Yeah, you got You were public enemy number one at Cradley, as he said, and now they're coming on. He was our number one at Bradford. John Hesseltine has just said.
Yes, he was a fan from Bradford. He often sends me a message. He always embarrasses me a little bit because he says I was his number one rider.
That's awesome. I've got someone else. You might know who this is because they've put a long time ago. He lived with my mum and dad at Netherton, Dudley. I visit his house. Who would that be?
Well, I don't know who that is, but I've always lived with my parents until I moved out. But I live in the road, the very next road to where I used to live with my parents, and I've got lifelong friends. When you go back to your school days, there was probably 20 kids in that street, and we used to get up in the morning and go play football. Do all the things that the kids don't do anymore. The only time we came back was when we were hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'd come back as well when the light disappeared. That's when you know it was home time.
Yeah,
that's it. When everyone went out to play then, but always on the push bikes and stuff. I've got Nervo63 here on YouTube. He's put looking forward to this chat. Sat with a glass of wine. And he's just come in with a question as well, which is very interesting because I had a question about this. Me and Neil had a little chat about this. He's put, is it true that you rode aged 15, I think, for the Stoke Potters?
well, I actually rode when I was 14. When I was 14, I didn't race grass that year because I wasn't doing very well at school. I was on report. I wouldn't say I was naughty, but I didn't do what I was supposed to do. So my parents didn't put the time into it. And I came home from school one day, it was on a Thursday, and they said to me, we're off to Swindon, you're riding. But now I hadn't ridden a bike since the year before. I've never ridden a speedway bike in my life. So I go to Swindon, I rode on my brother's bike, I wore his leathers in the Trackstar Angler Junior League. I was only 14. I scored about 2 points from 2 rides, and then I went to Stoke. I had a ride after the meeting on my brother's bike again. I think I got my own letters this time. And CVS said he would sign me, bought me a new bike, and then the following season, 15 years old, off I went. I used to go in the tuck shop with £10, buy a bag of crisps. They could never change the £10 note. But it didn't last.
Wow. So you were racing in the league at 15 then?
Yes, obviously CBS is saw the talent, and all I ever thought about was just riding speedway. That's all I ever thought about.
And there's another cool story, Neil, that maybe a lot of people wouldn't know about. That you said to me, we had a quick chat about that you used to do some like levers and some designing levers and things like that at school and things like that. Was that true?
Yeah, well, when I was about 13 or 14, you see, some of the lessons, well, I used to go into the lesson, sit at the back of the class, and there was quite a few of us, and we used to write out a program of riders who were going to be at Cradley on the Saturday or whatever. And we used to have a red, a blue, a yellow, and a white pen. And we used to take it in turns, juggling the pens up and chucking them on the table. And then we used to fill out all the scores. And obviously, we would have that was what we used to do in the lessons.
Wow, that's amazing.
And as far as the leathers go, I always used to do that. And Christian Presbro, he stayed. He lodged at my house, I think, at my parents' house for about 2 years. And he saw the book with these designs in, and he took the book away. And that very year, about 5 Danish riders came. Eric Gunderson was one, Mike Laumann another, Klaus Laumann. They all had the leathers, not particularly the same colour what I did, but the same design.
No way.
In fact, Eric Gunderson, I'm sure the first 4 days he spent in England was at my house in my brother's room. He slept on the floor when he first came to England. Christian Presbro brought him over.
Wow. Flipping hell. That's so cool. I bet not a lot of people know about this then.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, they do now. That's cool. I like stories like that. That's really cool. I just got David Norris as well, the man. He's just put, oi, oi, big fella. Neil built me my first brand new bike in 94. One bike, I was 22 years old, 9.18 average, Division 1. Thanks, Neil.
Well, at one time, I did all the Eastbourne Riders engines, and I did one engine for Martin Dugard, but I did all the others, and I built bikes for Andrew Silver, Dean Barker, and Floppy Norris.
Yeah.
And they used to chip in to pay my travel expenses. I used to take my son, he was only about 3 years old. I used to take him down the Eagles, and I used to stay at Dean Barker's. So yeah, David Norris, he often says kind things about me, but you know, he was a good rider, and he did good on my engines.
Yeah, he's just put, oh boy, he goes, I forgot. Neil Evitts, he named me Floppy. Have a great night, boys.
Well, here's a funny story for you. I've started quite a few trends.
Okay.
And when I built all these bikes, I used to call Dean Barker Ronnie Barker.
Okay,
So on the one bike he had Ronnie, and on the other bike he had Barker, and Silver had IO and Silver.
Yeah.
And Floppy had Floppy Norris on the back of the seat.
I see, yeah.
But Andrew Silver, he went away skiing. I built 2 bikes for him, and then I got this helmet spray for him with IO Silver on, and then literally about 3 weeks before the season started, he changed his name to Silver Surfer.
Oh, wow. He was one of my favourites as well, growing up at Swindon, Mr. Silver, when he was there. Yeah, he was a very exciting rider to watch for sure.
Very, very entertaining to watch, but it was never really good from the gate. So, well, that's what makes you entertaining, is it, when you've got to come from the back?
Yeah, he certainly did, and he liked to have the dive and the cut back and all that, and it was exciting at Swindon. It definitely inspired me to go motocross on a Sunday, that's for sure. Watching Hi-Ho in action was good. You always came to Swindon though, Neil, and did a lot of damage at Swindon. Did you like the track, by the way?
I used to like Swindon, and yes, I did pretty good there.
Yeah. Glenn Cunningham's just put bumpy crumpy.
Yeah, well, I did a bit of stuff for Jason Crump, and when I used to do the engine in them days, I used to put an aluminium plate on with the nickname, or like Stefan Dano, he used to have a bottle of beer on his because he used to like to drink.
Okay.
So yeah, that was
I didn't know this.
yeah, that was what I did on Jason Crump's. And I'll tell you a funny story about Jason Crump. He come to my house one day, and my daughter, she would have been about 6 or 8 years old, maybe. And she had those spokey dokies in the front wheel.
Yeah.
And she put them onto Jason's bike, and he actually went to the Neaton Road with these fluorescent spokey dokies in the wheel. They didn't last very long, but anyway, he gave it a go.
Oh, that's brilliant. Love that. Justin Walker's just come on and said Neil has names for most of the riders. Is this the thing, is it, Neil?
I can't remember everything, but yes, I do tend to make up names for different people, call them different things.
I like that.
Better not say too much.
Yeah, brilliant. Someone said to me as well, I'm not sure it was now, I'm just trying to think who said. Someone said that once upon a time you were into karting. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, well, I've always done a bit of karting. When I rode at Bradford, there was two fans I used to know, and one of them, he used to work at a mentally handicapped school. And he used to race go-karts back in the day. And one of the projects he used to do was get these men. I can't remember if they were children or grown up. I would imagine it was pretty big. I would imagine there was all adults and children there. And they used to do these jobs on his go-kart. And he said to me, I would like a speedway bike. So I said, okay, I can give you a rolling chassis. And he gave me a go-kart. He took the rolling chassis, and then that's how I started go-karting. I think it was an Arrow engine Yeah, but there was quite a few riders, Jano Pedersen, Steve Bastable, and some other people used to do kart. In fact, Dean Barker got a kart, Floppy Dice got a kart, and there was about 6 or 7 of us. We used to meet up once a month, say every 4 or 5 weeks. A few of my friends obviously had karts. We used to meet up all over the country, have a day go-karting.
Wow. So
I still do a little bit of it now, but to be honest with you, I struggle to get out of bed these days. And, you know, getting up really early and travelling. And also, at the moment, I don't really have anybody who goes with me. When you have when there's a group of you, you have a good laugh. You always need to take somebody with you. I think there might be a friend of mine on now, Gary Corbett. He started going go-karting, but I used to whop him that many times he had to give it up.
I reckon, I'm not sure if this is, but I reckon this might be Lee Kilby potentially. He's put Neil will always be the champ, and he put it was awesome having him in the pits at Swindon in 2019. I bet he'd lose to Max Kilby in a kart now, though. I've seen he's now getting into the karting.
Well, I don't think so, to be honest, because I'll tell you another funny story. I went go-karting about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And this person overtook me down the straight.
Yeah.
I had the person on the corners, but they just kept overtaking me on the fast straight. Anyway, when I came in, I seen it was a woman. I've been overtaken by a woman. If my father would have seen that, he wouldn't have been happy. But she was driving a 175. And I said, I've got to get me one of them. And I tell you, sometimes when I've drove it, I think I've only drove it about 3 times. And it's almost like the front wheels want to come off the ground. So anyway, I've got one of those. And I look forward to seeing that woman again this year sometime.
Love it. Love it. Well, so she obviously wasn't reversing then, Neil. Obviously in the old...
Well, listen, she was only good in a straight line.
Love it. Oh, brilliant. That's classic. Oh, I got Graham Gray. There's so many questions on here. Not even looking at mine. Graham Gray's put, hi, Neil. During your Speedway career, who was your biggest influence? I had that down as well.
Well, when I first started going to Speedway, as I said, Roy Trigg was my favourite rider. I used to help Bruce Cribb. I used to help Mick Hanley. I used to help Christian Presbro. I even helped Scott Autry. Scott Autry used to call me a pit rat. And I remember sneaking in the pits, helping him at Wolverhampton, helping him at Cradley. And he gave me this Bell Helmets jacket. It was too big for me, but he took it off in the bar and just gave it to me. I speak to him very, very occasionally. You know, this is where it all started for me, because my parents, they used to allow me to have time at school. Mick Hanley used to pick me up from school. Sometimes I didn't even go to school. He just used to take me. He used to be a bricklayer. I think I probably helped him for about 2 or 3 years. I went with him all over the country, helping him. And I have to say, I would have been about 13 or 14 at the time. And he had this Mercedes with a column change. And on the way home, he used to let me hold the steering wheel for him. And then he used to let me drive. But it was this big Mercedes with the steering wheel, and I used to look between the dashboard and the steering wheel. He used to let me drive on the motorway.
Bit of cheeky experience there. Then I love that.
This is what makes your life.
Yeah, you were allowed to have a bit more fun in them days.
Yeah, I used to do the same with Bruce Cribb as well. Bruce Cribb used to have a BMW.
Yeah.
And I think one of the times I can remember we coming back from Newcastle, and in them days you had to go, you'd come down the A1, M1, M69, M6. So it was the motorway all the way. And he let me drive his car. I hope there's no police watching.
Yeah, all policemen, look away. This is just all private in here. Mr. Paul Hurry's on as well. He's just put evening to you. He's put he's a legend, and an even bigger one, having a JT helmet. I did love that JT helmet as well.
Yeah, I wore JT, I think, for 1 year.
Yeah.
But the problems with the JT helmet was they weren't allowed to have a stamp. You have to have a silver or a gold stamp in those
Oh
days,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
wouldn't allow it. And I can remember going to Reading. I don't know what the man's name was. He was a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? He was a bit of a Jobsworth, to be honest. And I went. He scrutineered my bike, and then he took my helmet away, and he said, "You can't wear that." And I said, "You better give it me back." And I said, "I'm wearing that helmet. If I don't wear that helmet, I won't be riding." And then they come up with a new rule where if you're an international, you could wear an international helmet. So then, but at the end of the day, that very same man, I could have given him £5 and he would have given me a gold sticker. I could have stuck it on there and then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But anyway, I carried on wearing it. There was a few other riders wearing it, wearing JT helmets too. But I only wore them for 1 year.
Yeah, they were pretty cool. We used to like some of the famous motocross riders wearing them as well. It was always iconic as well. Jean-Michel Bale and all that sort of stuff.
Well, listen, the financial situation I'm in now, I wish I'd have kept them, because I tell you what, my friend, he sold the goggles and a face mask for 250 quid.
Yeah, it's gone mad on memorabilia, Neil.
I've never really kept anything. If I won a trophy, I used to give it to somebody in the crowd, or in fact, I've got 4 trophies. That's all I've got.
Have you got any got any old leathers or?
I do have a very old pair of leathers, which I lent to my good friend Peter Carr. I kept them because they're one of my favourite pair of leathers, and I lent him for 1 season, and I think he went through the fence at Ipswich, and they're just in rag and ruin. They're falling apart.
Oh, no.
I couldn't even sell them if I wanted to.
Oh, nightmare. What about, have you got any old race jackets, any cool race jackets and stuff like that? Any?
Well, I had about 25 race jackets, and when I moved from my house in the next road to this house,
Yeah,
I put them somewhere, and I didn't see them for probably 25 years, maybe 20 odd years. And then when I insulated my loft and put all the boards down, I found them. So I hadn't seen them for 20 odd years.
wow.
And a man in Scotland, I can't remember what his name is, but he bought them all off me.
Wow, nice. I just see Paul Hurry said, but he's got a decent toolbox.
Yeah, well, I started helping Ellis Perks in 2019, and his mechanical skills are below zero, and he just had stuff everywhere. So I said to him, I'm not going to keep walking back and forth, doing all that. So I made him a toolbox all in one, and he carried all the stuff. And then I've had another idea where I made one for Sam Masters, but I've made some more after that. The first one for Sam Masters was a little bit too high, so I'm trying to sell that off. So I've made quite a few of them. You put the toolbox on the top; they look very smart. Carries all the stuff. One trip to the pits. Even got an electric motor on. And I tell you, I'm just making a new one for Jamon, and it's got a motor off a scooter, just 37 kilometers. I think when I get it going, I'm going to get a seat on like one of them lawnmowers and ride it into the pits.
That'd be brilliant. I love this. This is classic. So you'd make some seriously cool stuff then, see? So you're into the technicals of everything.
But I've always made products, shall we say. Quite a few riders use my products. I don't advertise. I don't want to be rich anymore. I don't want to sell to the masses. I make a few products handmade in the Black Country. If you want them, I've got them.
There you go. Beautiful. Sounds pretty sweet factory. We used to call everything that was cool factory. So it sounds like Neil does a lot of factory things. Nicola Karen here. She put, Neil was one of my heroes. Is a mechanic. Mark Stevenson used to do Neil's bike on the Hadcoft estate. I used to stand at the end of the drive watching them do the bikes while I was on my paper round. Neil has been very helpful to me at grass track meetings with advice. from Mike Scalding.
Yeah, Mike Scalding, yes, he does grass track for fun. I've seen him lots and lots of times. I want to say hello to Mark Stevenson if he's watching. He helped me virtually all my career. He did ride for Lungeaton for a little while. His dad used to do his bike, and I think right from when I was 17, Mark came virtually everywhere with me. He ended up meeting his wife at Halifax, and obviously he's married. Unfortunately he's suffering from ill health at the moment, but I hope he's watching. Helped me a lot right to the very end, virtually.
I'm just looking. I am trying to keep up with these comments, ladies and gents, but they are coming in thick and fast. I ain't even got time to look down at my phone at the questions, so I'm just literally going with your guys' questions.
I reckon you're going to have to book me in for another 8 years' time, because we're not going to get it all.
No, we're not. We need a part 2, Neil. We need a part 2, and then I got to convince you all over again. Damn.
Well, listen, I'm confident now. I'm not nervous anymore, so I might be able to do it again.
Perfect. There we go. Much appreciated. That'd be awesome. Definitely have to do a part 2. We're never going to get through it. I haven't had as many questions on here for a while like this. Peter Schrock just put a remote control one. Is this still on about the toolboxes? Or
I have to say, Peter Schrock, every time I see Peter Schrock, I always have a bet £1 down. So if I'm with somebody, I always say to them, you see that bloke over there? He's German. You wouldn't believe it, but he's actually German. And I bet you he's going to say to me, we're all friends now. And they say, get out of it. And I go up to him, we shake hands, and he always says, we're all friends now. Just a little joke when we were on tour in Australia once.
That's why I've seen a comment on here earlier saying we're all friends now. That's what it's about.
Well, we were at a Kentucky. It's in, I think it was Mount Isa somewhere, which is up the north, in towards the middle. And we stopped at this Kentucky. There were about 11 of us on an Ivan Major tour, and we were all talking and joking. And somebody started talking about the war, and Peter Schrock, he said, "But we're all friends now." And you know, that was 25 years ago. We still talk about it now.
Still doing it. That's brilliant. See, there is some good things about social media sometimes, eh? We can all these guys.
Social media is very good if you use it correctly.
Correct. Very correct, Neil. I've just got John Boston here as well. He said you rode with Nova helmets, if I remember rightly.
Yes, I think that was my first sponsor. I met a man called Per Olav Serenius in the ice racing. And he had this Narva crash helmet, and it was really comfortable. It didn't really look the best. But anyway, when I found out where they were. They were in by Reading somewhere.
Yeah.
They mainly used to do ski boots and things like that. So anyway, I contacted them, and I probably wore Narva for maybe 3 or 4 years.
Just putting up a couple of pictures of him on there so people can see him at the same time. So yeah, you had them so they were as a good sponsor then.
Yes, and I can remember occasionally the man, he wasn't into speedway or motorsport, as I said. Like, they did more things to do with skiing. But he saw the occasional photograph of me, and he used to send me a check for £100. He probably did it about 3 or 4 times. He saw a picture with the Narva crasher. I think Simon Wigg wore them 1 year as well.
See, Gary Stead just said that Kenny Carter used Nova as well too.
I can't remember if he did. I know I wore a FM helmet, and I think at the same season that Kenny used a FM helmet. That was probably the worst helmet I ever. But I have to say, that helmet was made out of plastic, like all the helmets of today.
Yeah.
But it just didn't look very good. But it was free, and it did the job.
Exactly. Lawrence Rogers, Mr. Birmingham here, he's just put those levers that ripped when Peter Carr borrowed them couldn't have been, is it Halverson ones?
Yeah, well, I probably already worn them for Peter Carr. he's a lifelong friend of mine, and you know, we toured Australia, and he wore my leathers, and most of his bike was mine as well. So yeah, Lawrence, I answered a question to somebody earlier.
Yeah.
When I first started, Alversons, they sponsored 2 top riders and 2 not so good riders, and Lawrence, he made it possible for they sponsored me, and I think the last season I rode, I wore GTS leathers, and the 2 seasons before I wore Jernberg's leathers, which was the same as Alversons. So I virtually wore them my whole career.
There we go. I'll put it on screen. I think I found one.
Yes, they were very thin leather, very lightweight compared to cowhide skin.
Did you always get on well with Kenny, Neil?
Yeah, well, I didn't know Kenny until I signed for Halifax. You know, I was riding for Birmingham for 3 years, and right before the start of the season, I had to go to a meeting at Perry Bar. I think the Leicester riders was there and the Birmingham riders there, and we all went in individually, and they said to you, right, you've got these choices, and I had the choice of Exeter or Halifax.
Yep.
And my dad said to me about Eric Boothroyd, what a good man he was, and unfortunately he's not with us anymore. But yeah, he was a great man, and I remember meeting him on some service station, having a bit of a chat to him.
Yep.
And then obviously I ended up riding for Halifax. And the first 3 meetings, they had ride replacement at number 2. So obviously I rode with Kenny. I remember the first meeting was at Newcastle, and we won every race. I beat him in 1 race. I had the bonus point in the other 3 races. But yeah, tragedy. What happened?
Yeah.
But Kenny was. I remember him going on the track and having just 1 tear off on, and he looks across to Peter Collins and he puts the tear off on the floor, and as if to say, "I don't need this tear off." You know, that's the kind of person he was.
Yeah, that's cool.
And another thing he used to say to me, "What gate you want?" And he used to say, "Well, all right, I'll have gate 1." He did say, "Well, I want gate 1."
So it wasn't really a choice.
I stayed at his house a few times. In fact, I won a semi-final at Oxford, and Kenny, I think he was 3rd in the meeting. And he said, come up early. My friend's going to fly us. We'll get in the helicopter. We'll fly into Halifax. That's the only time I've ever been in an helicopter. And I tell you, I won't be going in an helicopter again. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I wouldn't fancy that, Neil. I wouldn't fancy that. Yeah, I don't blame you. I've got just putting up a couple of nice pictures of some Halifax team pictures and stuff there with you guys all on there.
Yes, I think until I went to Halifax, it was kind of the Kenny Carter roadshow. You know, Doug Wire, he was very good round Halifax. But Halifax, you know, generally, from my memory of we used to go to Halifax on a bank holiday Monday or on the Sunday and watch Cradley race. They're amazing to see that track, because it's not like any other track. So yeah, I really enjoyed my time at Halifax.
You're enjoying it, yeah. I just
in fact, I tell you, the first time I rode at Halifax, I was in the best pairs. I think I was only 16, and I was paired with Bruce Cribb. We made it to the semi-final, and I remember going on gate 4 and putting my foot in the rut, and the dirt came past my ankle. It was that deep. I'd never experienced that before. That, you know, some of these things, you never forget those things. But Halifax was kind of, it was the Kenny Carter Roadshow. And until I went there, you know, they used to do good at Halifax, but never any good away from home.
Yeah. I was just about to say about the banking, and Gary Stead just said, awesome track, the big banking.
Yeah, Halifax, Exeter, a man's track. You know, you have to have some balls to go good round there. But you know, it wasn't an easy track to ride. You had to, you know, put the bike where you wanted it to go to get the best line. And another thing I remember at Halifax, I used to use a 58 sprocket if I was in Heat 1. And then I used to use a 56. I never used a 57 because with the banking, it didn't work right. I'm letting out some secrets. It's a good job the track's closed.
Just about to say, secrets there. I just had someone mentioned about that as well. I was just about to say about that because someone put on there about, obviously there was all the rumours everywhere about here we go. John Hesseltine, he's put, there was talk last year of Speedway returning to Bradford, but unfortunately it seems to have fallen through. What do you think about the future of British Speedway?
Well, it would be great if it did return, and obviously they've spent all that money. It's ridiculous what happened with the rugby. The rugby had gone out of business more than once, and in fact, if I remember right, I think the rugby league actually own the stadium now. I was talking to Chris Van Straten the other day about Wolverhampton, if they're coming back and all that, and the plan is if they can try and do something, they've got to make like a multi-stadium. And all those times when there was only the rugby there, you know, you should have the Speedway there as well. You can't just run things with just one thing going on. But I think the problem is with Bradford is where the pitch used to be, they've got that new stand, and they've got all those pillars.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably too dangerous.
Yeah, like you said, there are a lot of these. I think a lot of the football things are trying to do it. Like you said, they need like to run 24/7 to keep it all running and keep money coming in.
Like a multi-stadium.
Yeah, gym, casino.
We need to get the kids off the street, don't we? You know, my parents, as I said earlier, you know, you don't realise how. Look, I've got a friend. He might be watching now, Al Bunny. You know, he used to come grass sacking with me. He's a lifelong friend. I see him every week. He started having a go at grass stack when he was about 50 because his parents never really put the time into him. Obviously, they didn't like Speedway. So, yeah.
I've just got a question here. Name on it, but it's interesting. During the 1986 World Final, do you recall the race with Eric when, from the start, you momentarily moved over and it appeared to put Eric off and basically ended his chance of winning the final?
What a shame. Yeah, well, of course, you know, all the good things I remember like yesterday, and I made two mistakes that day, really, because I had a better engine, but I'd only just had that engine and I wasn't confident from the gate. So I used an engine which wasn't quite fast enough, but I expected to win my first race. I was from gate 4, I came second. And then I have to say, I anticipated the gate. Yes, I did put Eric off, but, you know, Eric is probably in my career, the people I've raced against, he was the best from the gate. And I have to say, he never spoke to me for about 2 years.
Didn't he?
I didn't park in the pits in that meeting because they had like a tunnel with some cages in, and I stayed in the cage. I didn't go in the pits, and I was right by the toilet. And he kept coming in the toilet and putting this white towel over his head. You know, he beat hands, I think, in the first race. And then, but you see, when I think about what I do now, you know, it would have been good if I had somebody there telling me what to do. Not that I might not have listened to them, but I anticipated the gate, and then I tried to do it in my next race. And I think I had 3/3. So really, when I'm thinking about it now, I should have accepted that it worked for me in my second race, but then I should have gone back to basics and sat still at the gate because obviously the referee was looking for me.
Yeah, so that affected it. We just lost the bit of the internet then for some reason. But so that was 1986. So it's you come 8th with 8 points. What were your memories of other things there? Did you was you going there with the thoughts that you could? Were you thinking, "Oh, can I get on the rostrum?" Was you going there with it in your mind to try?
Well,
and win?
You know, I never thought I want to ride Speedway. I'm going to be world champion. I just thought I wanted to ride Speedway. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to win. Obviously, you know, I think I should have rode in 3 world finals. 87. I didn't make it to the World Final because of that cretin Peter Rowan in the Intercontinental Final. You know, if he walked in front on a zebra crossing in front of me, I wouldn't stop. And then the following year,
Yeah.
I dislocated my shoulder in the British final.
Mhm.
I think I had 2 weeks off, and then my first race back, a very good friend of mine, Mr. John Davis, his chain snapped. I hit his back wheel. Over I went. I did it again, dislocated my shoulder again. And then I think I did something else a bit later. But by then, you know, I had nothing left.
Mm. Yeah, because I know that obviously winning the British final and everything, you had a really successful year and stuff. And like I was talking to a few people, I've said on quite a few of these lives, back then the British finals were like world finals on their own, weren't they? Sometimes stronger. And
Yeah. British finals now, you know, it makes me laugh when I see some of the field, you know, they just invite. Listen, we can't change who is racing now, but it does, you know, it does make me make me smile a little bit, because yes, in them days it was on a Sunday, there was 15,000 people there, and it was a really big day. And as you said, you know, there could have been 8 riders in that final who could have all made it to the world final. We're all good enough to be in the world final.
yeah, it was so stacked, wasn't it, of riders, and like you said, number ones throughout the field as well. So it was always super competitive. You had another, was it another year as well? You come second as well, was it? Or
Yeah, I was second in '97. I had a good year in '97, and I should have been in the world final that year. In fact, I scored 7 points. I dislocated my shoulder. I wrote my best bike off. I was never really good round Voyens, but I could win races around there.
yeah,
But, you know, my first race, you dislocate your shoulder. I had to try and keep moving, try and keep my momentum going. And I ended up having to have a run off with Peter Rowan. And I've seen the video. John Jorgensen showed me on the TV. I passed him over the line. He was an English referee. I'm not going to say his name. He's tried to friend me on Facebook, but I wouldn't accept it. I passed him over the line, and then I come back in the pits. It's raining, and a young 10-year-old kid comes up to me. He said, "Dead heat, and you're off gate for 2 minutes." Jacob Olsen, 10 years old. You know, the referee should be telling me it's a dead heat and I'm in a runoff.
wow, bloody hell, that's weird, isn't it?
You learn something new every day.
Flipping out. Also, Neil, we had a quick chat as well. So you were quite lucky when you were young as well. You had a bit of an accident. That was a bit of a scary one as well. How old were you?
Yeah. Well, that was when I was 16. Obviously, I was driving. I didn't have a driving license. And that particular day, I was going to go motocrossing. You mentioned about motocrossing. Me and Steve Bastable were going motocrossing.
Yeah.
But it was snowing and it was icy. So we decided to go for some food somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I set off literally half a mile from my house. I remember leaving my house, but I don't remember anything else. I think I was in intensive care for 24 hours. I lost 2 points of blood. He said, that is the first time I injured my knee, and I blew it on the knee. If I'd have been wearing the seatbelt, I think it would have snapped my leg.
So how old were you then?
I was 16.
There's
no police watching again. The council actually tried to sue me. They tried for, I don't remember. The police didn't prosecute me, but the council, they tried to sue me. They wanted £2,000, I think, to replace the lamppost. But anyway, we fought it, and I didn't have to pay.
Well, that's good to hear. And that was a close one. So I'm glad that you got through all that okay. That must have been a scary one, especially at that age. Everyone's reminiscing about saying how cool the British finals were at the Coventry, were the best. 1st of June 1986, best day ever. Libby said as well.
I haven't spoken to for some time. In fact, I didn't go to Halifax or Bradford, actually, or Sheffield. When I retired, I didn't go back there for probably, I think it was about 18 years. And I went to a reunion, and obviously they came, so I saw them in person. But I think the man who used to arrange that, he died, so I don't know if they still do that.
Right.
I think I've been to 2 of them in like 30 years.
Yeah, Barney just said someone was looking down on you that day, I think.
Yes, I'm. Well, I've had quite a few scrapes in my life, and yeah, that was. Yeah, that was. I was very lucky to survive
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Well, you can see
definitely.
all the blood everywhere.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Gary Stead just put, how did you like Halifax compared to Bradford?
Well, I like both the tracks. I think it was easier to pass round Bradford, but you know, riding in Australia and New Zealand, there's all different tracks, all sizes, shapes,
Yeah.
and I can remember riding on 2 tracks in New Zealand where they had a big corner and a small corner, and one bend was banked and one bend was flat. And you know, nobody can say that watching Speedway at Bradford was unexciting, because that track was that's probably my favourite track. Bank corner, flattish corner, you could pass.
Yeah, I still remember the 90 final when Purr won and stuff, and I remember watching that. So I was sort of 15 or something like that, I think I was. And I remember,
Well, I was there that night with Todd Wiltshire.
was you? He had a great one there as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he came 3rd, but they promoted him to 2nd. But I don't think he accepted the 2nd place.
Yes. Oh, actually, when I had Hans Nielsen the other night, he said he was 4th, apparently, and he said that they didn't even offer him the upgrade to 3rd.
Well, who cares about 4th, Hans?
I know,
Come
they
on. But
said that, yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story about Hans. I have to say, he is my second. In my mind, he is the 2nd best rider in the world ever.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him when I was riding at Birmingham. He came to Birmingham. I can't remember where he came. Oh, Wolverhampton. He came from Wolverhampton. But I remember going to the RAC building in London to discuss the Grand Prix and all this stuff when I was on the SRA, and Hans was there and everything. So anyway, I went to Hans's. I stayed at his house, and we got up there, went down to London, and we parked up in this place. And he paid the parking meter, and we were literally about 16 minutes short. And I said to him, you should pay that. And he said, no, they won't take the car, it's Danish. So I said, okay. And we came out this meeting about 6 o'clock. We walked back to the car was gone.
No.
And then we had to walk about a mile to the nearest police station, and we found out where the car was, but then we couldn't get the car till the following day. So we had to go and stay in some hotel somewhere by this police station somewhere. Literally, the car pound was close to the police station. Anyway, we go into this hotel. We had a couple of drinks, and then obviously we go to bed. And when we went to bed, you know, the 2nd best speed rider of all time, he took his trousers and his top off, and he had a white vest and white junior Y-fronts on. I couldn't stop laughing. And it cost him, I think it cost £180 to get the car out. And for 2 years, every time he saw me, he said to me, have you got my money, Neil? And I said, what money? And he said, you owe me half for the car. And I said, well, I don't, because I told you to pay it. I paid half of the parking bill.
Oh, that's brilliant.
He gave up asking me after about 2 years.
I've just put a picture up on the screen of a team picture. It was like Sean McConnell, Andy Graham, John Jorgensen, yourself, Hans Nielsen on the bike. So yeah, was that? Did you enjoy that there with that time with them at Birmingham? I see Sean McConnell's on tonight as well.
Yeah, I used to spend quite a bit of time with the car mayor, because obviously I used to race in Germany as well. So we used to fly. I can tell you another funny story about him as well.
Yeah, go on.
We used to used to have this Citroen Safari, which everybody used to have in them days. Birmingham bought this Citroen Safari for him, but it used to overeat and cut out.
Yeah.
So we're going to Heathrow Airport one day. We get in the car, we're going down, we stop on the motorway because the car cuts out. And he used to park it at a hotel right next to Heathrow Airport. And this was before all the car parks and stuff. And he parked this Citroen, I think it might have been the Hilton. He parked this Citroen in the car park, and then in the meeting he broke his wrist. So that meant he didn't come back for about 5 weeks. And he come back in 5 weeks, and the car was still in the car park. I don't think anybody wanted to nick it.
That's how long it had been there. Neil Scalding said, "Get this man on the stage."
Well, I tell you what, I'm looking for a new profession.
Yeah. Someone asked, when are you going to be at the Cleveland Arms earlier? I noticed someone said, when are you going to be
Well,
down?
actually, my friend, the Tube, so I'm going to say hello to M. Gennard, General Builders. He's my second best friend of all time. He did slip out of the top 10 a couple of times, but he's back up there, my second best friend of all time. He comes with me to Speedway. He's a sportsman. He did have a go at grass sackers up, but unfortunately, he broke his wrist, and his wife wouldn't allow him to ride anymore.
Okay.
But he's going to be back in the J-Mon a little bit this year. He helps Scott Nichols as well. And while I'm on the subject, I have to say hello to the Quirky Queens. I'm in this group. Somebody's joined me in this Quirky Queens group. They'll be watching me.
Okay, good. Say hey to all them guys. Glenn Cunningham said, Neil, tell the story when you told Big Hands to keep your pit bay at Bradford clean when he was guesting for you.
And now I think that was in the world final, actually, you know, because he was number one that night. And I said to him, I walked by and I just said to him, I'll be back here next weekend. So make sure you clean all the dirt off that Todd Wiltshire is about to put all over you. But you know, there's a picture of me. I've got it on my garage wall. It's been there, I don't know how many years. I'm talking to Todd. And I think in his 4th race, which was right after the track grade and water, and I said to him, don't go off the inside, because you could see all the water had run down. You could see with all the lights.
Yeah.
But he chose to go off the inside of gate 1, and Hans got to the first bend in front of him.
Damn.
He could have been world champion.
Was that close as well, wasn't it? It was very fine lines, like you said.
I was talking to Todd Wiltshire for 42 minutes the other day. He rang me up.
Yeah. Did that get brought up again?
No, to be honest, we were talking about the Australian final, J-Mon, and
yeah.
all that.
Right, okay. Yeah, I had a nice interview with him as well. He's a really nice guy, Todd.
Yeah, well, I actually met him by accident because I was in Australia. And there is a picture on my Facebook where you can see my bike stripped down and the toolbox in the back of this big American car. I was in Australia. I was in Brisbane or Surfers Paradise, and I agreed to ride somewhere in Sydney. And my mechanic, Delboy, I hope he's watching, Delboy. He was probably my best mechanic. I wouldn't say he was the best mechanical mechanic, but me and him really hit it off good. And you know, when you go to Speedway, there it is.
Beautiful.
So when you go to Speedway, you need to have somebody who you get on with, who puts you in a good mood. But anyway, so they send my bike to Sydney. Delboy goes with my bike, but when I'm about to get on the plane, the man who was organising the meeting, he says, listen, I'm not going to pay you this money. I'm only going to pay you this money. And I said, well, we've made an agreement. You're going to pay me that money, otherwise I won't be riding. So I didn't ride, obviously. Delboy was stuck in Sydney, and good old Billy Wiltshire, he lent me that car for 6 weeks.
Wow.
Delboy, he got all my stuff in the car. I drove it about 10 hours back to Brisbane.
Oh, look at all that all in there like that as well.
But also, Billy Wiltshire, he did disappoint me a little bit because at that time, I think Dirty Dancing was on at the cinema. And when there was a group of us, we used to try and go to the cinema once a week or once every 2 weeks. You know, we used to go and have a lap at the cinema. And he had one of those 8-track cassettes. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
Anyway, I had a Dirty Dancing cassette, which I bought, and I left it in the car. And Billy Wiltshire, you know, he probably sent me a message like 2 years go by, and he tells me he's still listening to my tape. I asked him to send it me back, but He says he's still listening to it. And he probably did that for a good, like, 10 years. Every so often,
Yeah,
I would get a message off him to say he's still got the tape.
classic. That's brilliant. Love it. Justin Walker's put, I always liked going to Sheffield with Neil. Always used to stop at the best curry house on the way home. He got me into Indian food from Rowley Village, Tandora. Tandora.
Rowley Village, Tandoori. I haven't been there for a very long time, but yeah, you know, I never used to eat foreign foods. And then when I was 21, I had a surprise party. Of course, I had a few drinks, and my brother took me to an Indian restaurant. And obviously, I've been eating Indian food ever since. Food is the spice of life.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've got one for you that I've actually only just started eating that in the last year. And I'm 47 next week. Never ate foreign food at all. So yeah, it's quite amusing that I do that now as well.
I'm very lucky. I have 2 children, one of each.
Yeah.
And when they were younger, you sit at the dinner table and they're eating the food, and they used to say, we don't like that. And they always used to say, let me see your face while you're eating that. And they used to pull these faces like that. And they used to say, we're putting it on. And they used to eat it.
That's brilliant. I got Skip here on YouTube said, how did Neil start doing the engine tuning?
Well, I've always been mechanically minded. And, you know, my father, he wasn't necessarily mechanically minded, but, you know, my father is a very hard man. And he used to put all that effort into us to do the grass trap, and me and my brother used to have to do our bit. You know, we used to clean our own bikes and things, and if we didn't pull our weight, luckily I can say honestly it never happened, but if we didn't pull our weight, you know, my daddy wouldn't say nothing to us. He wouldn't put your bike on the trailer or in the van, because you had to do what you had to do.
Yeah. Hate to say it, but quite a few of the kids these days could do with some decent discipline from back in the day.
Well, nowadays, you know, listen, I don't want to be lecturing people, but nowadays there is no discipline.
No, there's not. No.
My dad was a very hard man, and when he came home from work, if we'd been playing up, when he came home from work, what he said goes.
Exactly that, yeah.
He still tries to lay the door down now.
Does he?
I'm a bit taller than him now.
Yeah. Graham Gray as well on YouTube. But Neil, during your speedway career, who was your biggest influence on the speedway side of stuff, the riding and?
Well, I can't say that I had an influence. You know, as I said to you earlier, I used to try and sneak in the pits right from 8 years old. I used to help Bruce and Christian and Mick Hanley. I had great times. You know, Mick Hanley, I used to have time off school to go and clean his bike. He used to be a bricklayer. And I have to say, you know, in the last couple of years, if I hadn't have been helping him, he wouldn't have been able to ride, because his heart really wasn't in it. But, you know, sometimes it's very hard to let go. I've seen Bruce Cribb do a lot of things. You know, I've seen Bruce Cribb weld Coleman onto a cab and then grind it by hand, just like the film on any Sunday. So, you know, I'm not going to say that I learned that skill from Bruce Cribb, but, you know, I did see him do lots of things. Of course, money was very tight in them days. So sometimes, in fact, I think funny thing about Bruce Cribb, he used to have these American clogs, and where he lived, right by the motorway, there was a bit of like shaly land, and he used to do practice gates and things. And he had these American clogs, and he used to do the practice gates and put the clogs down on the floor, and the clogs wore out. So what he did, he just nailed a piece of wood on the bottom of them, but he didn't even cut them round like the clogs. So he just had these little planks on the bottom of his clogs.
Proper bodging that up then.
But you could get away with it in them days.
Yeah, of course. I got Darren Reynolds on YouTube. He's put, hi chaps, great show. What riders were Neil's biggest rivals?
Well, anybody who was any good. You know, some riders. I'll go back to Eric. I didn't beat Eric very often. Well, I did beat him, but he was such a good gaiter.
Mm.
But Hans Nielsen, I had lots of good races with Hans, and I beat Hans Nielsen a lot of the times. He always shook your hand afterwards. So I didn't really have any rivals. You know, you just anybody you race is a rival.
I did see a question from someone, but I've lost it now. Oh, here we go. Phil Alkin. I know he's a big Stoke man. He's put, who was Neil's biggest enemy or rider he had run-ins with over the years?
Well, there is a rider who I do detest, but unfortunately he's no longer with us, so I'm not going to mention his name. But you know,
Yeah, okay.
the thing is with me, I was a hard rider, and I don't think anybody can say that they seen me arguing or fighting with anybody. You know, I could give it, and I could also take it. Sometimes riders, they like to give it, but they don't like to take it.
Yes. I've heard. Well, a few of the riders have said. Was there any
I only
riders
ever
that
knocked
used to
one
be a
rider
bit
off
freaked out?
intentionally.
Go on.
Well, he rode into me on the first bend and snapped my chain, and the referee should have stopped the race and ordered a restart, but he didn't, and I was very annoyed. So when I was in a later race with him, when I was off gate 4, it's on YouTube, and I just turned left and elbowed him and knocked him off. I'm not going to say his name in case there's any police watching.
Yeah. I was just about to ask that. It's like, damn. Was there any riders back in the day that Neil that you always used to have eyes in your back of your head, like one of them riders? There's always those riders. Sketchy.
Well, not really. You know, you go on the track with a mindset, and you deal with what's in front of you.
Was his name Alan Rosser, the dodgy rider?
Alan Rossiter.
He's been on tonight, by the way, so I don't know if he's on.
Yes, well, he introduced me to his 2 children once, and he said to me, tell my children how good of a rider I was. And I said to his children, Alan was the backbone of the team. I used to sell lots of leathers to lots of riders. Alan Rossiter, he had some leathers off me. The Tour of Australia he's talking about, I was from the Midlands, he's from Wales, and everybody else was from up north. We had an absolutely fantastic time, but we did kind of take the mickey out of Roscoe because he's Welsh.
Yeah, sounds like. Yeah. I've put a nice picture up on there now. It looks like that's one of the things. Is
yeah, I think that was taken at Ipswich, which I believe is still running now. That was a great tour. That was Nigel Bucock organised that. Of course, we whopped the Aussies.
Love that. Good days. Good days. Nice picture there.
Yeah, that picture there was taken in Townsville. I never used to like to practice. If I get away without practicing, I would. But that day, I was selected to do the practice. We had to do a bit of a practice and do something for the TV. And yeah, that was from Townsville. But the meeting was actually rained off.
Oh, that's fun.
So I did a practice I didn't want to do, and it was rained off.
Typical, isn't it? What was that? I see you running the front plate thing on there. I used to have one of them on my BMX as well. And there was a few riders that rode with that.
That was Ivan Major Tour. So Ivan, he used to stick all his stickers on those boards because you get everything on.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, because a few of the riders used to run with them all the time, didn't they?
Well, it's fashion, isn't it? Trend.
Things come in and out. Did you always get on well with Gary Havelock? I've got quite a few cool pictures that I was going to just show from your Bradford days with him.
Obviously, I met Gary when he came to Bradford. He was riding from Middlesbrough, I think, and obviously you could see he was good. He had potential.
Mhm.
and he came to Bradford. When in them days you could double up. So he came to Bradford, and then eventually, obviously, he rode for Bradford full time. And I can always remember his dad having a go at me, saying to me about helping followers. I think at the time I was helping Todd Wiltshire, and I said to him, you know, I'm here. If somebody wants my help, I'm here. And then
Yeah.
eventually, I started doing engines for Avalok, and the rest is history. We got on really good. He was good to. He was a real racer.
Another man that went out of his way today to speak to me was Mr. Marvin Cox, and said, "Can you please say best wishes to yourself?" So you obviously spent some time obviously riding with him as well.
Well, when
Another
I
good
first started, when I was 16, and Marvin, I'm not sure, he was probably, I think he might be a fraction older than me. He definitely looks older than me. And there was quite a bit of rivalry because he was up and coming, and all his leathers were checkers. And I think I rode for Birmingham in an interleague challenge at Rye House, and obviously he was there, so there was a bit of competition between us. But Marvin, got on really well with Marvin. I did engines and things for Marvin sometime. He actually rode in Germany for a few years. He left the British League, but had a very good trip. We did the world, it was the European under 21, which is the world under 21.
Yeah.
And every round, my dad organised the transport. So all our bikes went together. We had like 5 bikes in the back of this van. And me, Marvin, and I think Peter Carr, we flew to somewhere, and the van used to come and pick us up. And that's how I got to know Marvin. And his dad, unfortunately, his dad's no longer with us, but you know, his dad was a funny man as well. We've had some laughs with him when he's had a couple of drinks on these trips.
I'm just looking at a picture here. It was a really cool picture. That must have been pretty special. I'm gathering you were helping out Gary, obviously, when he won the world final as well, as you at the front there.
Yes, you know, I flew to Poland on the Speedway Star flight. It wasn't a big airplane. It was purely for the Speedway Star. And you know what? A couple of people said hello to me. Nobody really said much to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the way back,
yeah, everyone's friend.
everybody was talking to me. Yeah, that was a fabulous start. You know, some people say to me, and in fact, Ollie Olsen said it to me once, because I think you rode somewhere, he didn't take a toolbox. And Ollie Olsen said to me, he's not a world champion. And a few other people say to me, you know, he's not a worthy world champion, but he is world champion. He was a world champion, and he finished on the rostrum in every meeting that year. Every qualifying round, he finished on the rostrum. He won, and he was a world champion.
Yeah, I remember watching that on the TV that night, and it was, like you said, the big delay as well. It sort of almost heightened all the drama of that big flood, and then
And he had a crash in one race, I think the bike came across the track and hit him, so he hurt his right leg a little bit.
So he still did it with that as well. Look. I've got Stuart Dewey Harrier, Lawrence Hare's brother, Dewey. He's just put, hi, you're good, buddy. He's put, hi, Lee and Neil. When was the last time you rode a speedway bike around a track? Interesting.
I think the last time I rode was at Reading. I had a good year at Sheffield, and then I had a disastrous year at Wolverhampton, and I didn't think I was going to ride again, but I ended up, I think I rode 3 times for Newcastle. But to be honest, I was struggling. You know, I was riding. It was taking me 2 or 3 days to get over it. And then I rode 3 times for Bellevue. And the last time I rode was at Reading, and the track was rough. And I remember it took me about 5 days to get over that. I had fluid on the knee again. I've had the fluid drained off my knee about 5 times. And I said, you know, I just can't keep doing this. I need to let go of it. Obviously, I wasn't doing very well either. So that was the last time I rode. And then I didn't ride a bike for 2 years And then I remember being at Otto Lanternummers, and I did some gates on a bike at John Davis's when the lay-down bikes were first coming out. We were trying to sort out the carburettor. And I think that was the last time I actually put my leg over the speedway bike.
Interesting. So it was Reading then. Mr. Phil Alkin has just put, how did Neil find the Luma Road track?
How did I what, sorry?
How did you find the Luma Road? Is that how you pronounce it, for the Stoke track?
Yeah, well, I rode a Stoke when I was 15. I was still at school. Every day is an adventure. Every track you go to is an adventure, and I did pretty good at Stoke. Sorry, I think I went from number 7 to number 5, but then obviously, unfortunately, somebody reported me for being underage. In fact, Stoke Speedway was pretty much the same shape as what Cradley was.
Yeah. Thank you very much to Phil Alkin as well. He's the one who supplied me with these pictures of you with the Stoke wing. I've got a Royce in one ear. I think I sent these to Neil. So you did, so you took to it straight away then, Neil, because like you said, you went literally straight in deep end's an understatement. From what you said, your parents took you to Swindon. You hadn't even rode for a year, was it? You said you hadn't even been on a bike. It's like, so you literally just went in the deep end and tried to swim very fast.
Well, speedway is something you can either do or you can't.
Yeah.
I run a few training schools in New Zealand, and the promoter's son bought a bike, brand new leathers and everything, but he's never going to be able to be a spear rider in his entire life. But you have to give him credit. He had to go. As I say, it's something you can do or you can't. It just comes natural.
Did you prefer to be part of a team, Neil, with team racing, or did you like the individual racing more, or did you have a preference of either way?
Well, you just take it as it comes, don't you? I could team ride. I could do good things on the first corner to bring my team man through. So, individually, it's all down to yourself. You just take it as it comes.
What about fitness stuff? Did you do what fitness stuff did you do in the winter for the new season?
Well, most of the times I used to go to Australia and New Zealand, so I never really stopped racing.
Yeah, so you just kept going.
I used to have trouble running. I've never really been able to run. There is a photo on Facebook somewhere where I've got fluid on the knee again. I did that from cutting the lawn. Just did a too quick of a turn and then get fluid on the knee. So, I actually joined the gym with one of my school friends. He's probably the only person from school who I still see occasionally. I actually joined the gym after I finished racing just for the social thing. But I used to make my own weights and do my own training. I have a major always used to say you don't have to get out of bed early, but you have to be fit on a night time, because most speedway was on a night time. So I used to do a little bit of training on a night time, do some different exercises. A lot of with speedway is determination. When you look at a rider like Enke Gustafsson, he was absolutely talented rider, but he never trained. He drank, he smoked. He could do 4 laps, he could do 10 laps.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Hey, you've got another man on as well, Sam Nicolaisen. He's laughing with the wink.
Yes, well, I remember him coming over. He was very short. I think he's still short, to be honest. I have an occasional chat with him.
Yeah. There's been a lot of cool spear riders online. Andy Hobbs is playing the joke man from Swindon Man. He's put, I'm a policeman. I need to come and have a chat with you, please.
No comment. That's all you have to say now.
That's it, Neil. Yeah, I'll be your solicitor. Say no comment.
I've been there and done it.
Yeah, and I'll delete anything else before he even has a chance. Gavin Rackham here just put, I remember Neil hitting the Coventry fence hard in the 88 British final. Javi broke his wrist in that meeting too, so it was not a great afternoon for Bradford.
Yeah, that was the last race. Dislocated my shoulder.
Bloody hell.
could have been on the rostrum that day. I wouldn't have won, but I could have been on the rostrum.
I've also got Krista Willits. Love Neil to bits. Such a funny guy. Got a lot of respect. Proper old school bloke.
It's very, very kind words. He's a boxer, so I have to agree to everything he says.
Yeah. Paul Lavender here has just put, ask Neil what happened to his front wheel on his grass trap bike when he polished all the spokes and what it looked like in the morning.
Now, I can't remember that, but Paul Lavender, he is, I'm going to say he's a lifelong friend. I don't really see much of him. I have the occasional chat with him, but when we used to do this, the schoolboy grass track,
yep,
he used to help Wayne Garrett. And there was a time when Wayne's dad was in prison for about 2 years, and Wayne, he lived close to us, so we always used to travel together. And Paul always helped Wayne, and I think he did help him when he first started Speedway as well.
I've got Darren Wilson here. He's in New Zealand. I'm not sure what the time is in New Zealand at the moment. Obviously, Bradley Wilson Dean's dad. He's just put 86, 87, summer in New Zealand, raced in at Western Springs and barbecues at Roy Triggs with Mort, Neil and Paul. Great times. I bought Neil's GM.
I think the first tour I did was Ivan Major Tour, and then the second year I was a resident rider at Western Springs, Auckland. I also rode at Christchurch as well that year. But yes, obviously met Wally Wheelspin, we call him. In fact, here's a funny story for you.
Well,
I think he's from Hastings. Hastings was a very good track, like Halifax, grey shale, but no banking.
okay.
Anyway, so we're all there. There's Mitch Shearer, Larry Ross, Bobby Swartz, John Cook, Ollie Tudavainen, Richard Transition, some Tchaikovsky. There's all these stars. We're all there lined up. And then this white limousine pulls up in the pits. Somebody gets out, opens the door, out gets Wally Wheelspin. And I have to say, Conor McGregor, he's got to say it, but that saying was invented by Bobby Swartz. I'm not a swearer myself, but I'm going to swear. Bobby Swartz, he said, who the fuck is that guy? Out comes Wally Wheelspin.
That's brilliant. I love it. Oh, you got some.
I hope my dad didn't hear me swear. I've never heard my father swear.
No way.
Never.
Fair play. So he keeps you on the straight and narrow with that. That's good. So I got Ivan Shears here. He's just put. Remember growing up, Neil guested for Ipswich in Terrazzano during a summer tour with Hathy. There was an Italian pits marshal who kept badgering him to be ready. He's put Evitts. He kept calling him until Neil went up to him. He said, "It's Mr. Evitts to you."
Well, I don't remember that incident, but I do remember the tour. I think his name was Chris Shears. I think he was running Ipswich at that time.
Yeah.
And he did ask me if I would like to ride for Ipswich, but obviously I didn't want to. I was happy with what I was doing, and yes, I think we rode on 3 tracks. We definitely rode at Lonigo. I can't remember the other tracks, but we did a tour. We rode about 3 tracks. Yes, I do remember that.
Darren Wilson just come back and said, haha, yes, a limo.
You can't make these stories up.
You can't, can you? Novo just put, thanks, Lee, for another great night of memories. Preben Erickson's on. Hello, Preben. Hi, Neil. Hope you're doing well. Say to Paul and Tom from me.
Yeah, Preben, he used to ride for Ipswich, then he come to Wolverhampton. He got a very strange accent, Danish, Ipswich, and a tiny bit of Black Country. His accent was very, very unusual. But I haven't seen or heard of him for years. I think he used to do something with jet skis. I'm not even sure if he's still in England or not. I don't know. He lived in England for some time.
Yeah, try and get you on as well, Preben. I'd like to get Preben on. That would be good fun as well, I reckon. Got to get this man on as well, Peter Schrock. He's put, that's why this legend likes tortoises. He loves running after them.
I got 9 toy choices. I've always had a toy choice. I got one toy choice, 56 years old.
No way.
Yeah. I didn't have him from the start. One of my school friends passed away, and his mother wasn't able to look after him, so I had to bring him in. But I have to say, I have to keep him separate from all the other ones because he fights them. Sid Vicious is his name. Sid Vicious. He cost 2.5 pence from Cradley Market.
No way.
In fact, 2 years ago, he had gout.
Did he?
Had to take him to the vet twice to get rid of gout.
Let's see with that. What's all their names then? This will be interesting.
Well, let me tell you, during COVID, they kept us sane. Me and my good lady, she's upstairs.
Yeah.
Drinking cocktails, 12 o'clock, midday, in the garden, because we had some nice weather that year.
Yeah.
Popping all 9 of these toy choices. I got Erman. They're named after famous people. Erman, Bez, Wilbur, Mavis, after John Davis.
I like that.
And Sid Vicious. I have actually got one called Alberto, which my friend who lives over the road, he might be watching, he might not, Adam Bridge, Motor Market, I'll give him a mention. Okay. They did help me out with a bit of sponsorship. He got 2 toy choices, but that they fight and they bicker, and it wasn't very fair. And his good lady, she's got a very posh garden, and she wasn't prepared to kind of cut the garden up a little bit to separate them. So he goes on holiday. In fact, there's quite a few people. They bring the toy choices to me for 2 weeks, 1 week, whenever they go on holiday. I look after them for a bottle of vodka or a bottle of Bacardi. Anyway, he goes on holiday. He comes back in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, nearly 4 weeks. I find him. I say, why haven't you come to fetch the toys? I say, well, to be honest with you, I think she's better off there with you. So I ended up adopting that. But I did give it to my daughter last year, but she still hasn't had it yet.
So you got a right little family there then. So like you said, it kept you busy and sane with them guys.
Yeah, well, they're very interesting creatures. They never give up.
Always persevering.
Yeah, they're always up to something. Then they lie in the sun. They're motivated by the sun, unlike us who are motivated by money.
Paul Lavender's just come on. He goes, I've heard your dad swear, and I called him some names when he got me done by the police on the way back from Wolverhampton when he had his feet hanging out the window.
Well, Paul Lavender is a very lucky man, because I've never heard my father swear.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. We've got another man on as well, Mr. Lawrence Hare. How you doing, Lawrence? Lol, as everyone calls him. He's put, Neil, you mentioned Exeter. How did you like it there? I'd have thought it was right up your street.
Yeah, I loved it at Exeter. The last time I rode at Exeter, I won, I think it was Bruce Cribb's testimonial. And 1 year, I think Mitch Shearer and Phil Crump were only beaten a couple of times, and that was by me. I used to love Exeter. The first time I went to Exeter, I can remember going to Eastbourne on the Sunday, riding for Birmingham. And then it was Poole on the Wednesday. And then I think it was Exeter on the following Monday. But we did a bit of a tour. And the first time I rode at Exeter, oh, God, I was absolutely garbage. And as I say, it's a man's track. You've got to ride it in a certain way. But after the first time I rode there, I got to grips with it.
Damon Cronin here just put, that's £1. Was that for the swearing?
He is a young lad. I fix his bike for him. He takes me out. He's been very good to me since I've had this operation. He's took me out a couple of times. In fact, I see more of him. I see my own son. So, yes, I have some good laughs with old Damo. He's a pikey, by the way. Have a look at his picture.
You might have to adopt him as well then, if he's Fizzing you more than the
Well,
sun.
he comes go-karting with me, Damo, but everything he touches, he breaks.
Oh
And the
no.
last time we went go-karting,
Yeah.
he's one of these kids. Sometimes he drives good, and then sometimes you think, has he ever driven a go-kart before? Anyway, he was driving good. I said to him, let's get the GoPro on there. Let's record what you're doing because you're driving really well. He goes out, he comes back, where's the GoPro? It's in the bushes somewhere. Breaks everything he touches.
I did love the go-karts as well. I had a few goes, but it's too heavy. I hate it when there's a lighter guy just goes by you on the straight.
Well,
Got all the race crap.
if you race go-karting, and they should do this in Speedway as well, they should. In you race go-karting, they weigh you and the cart, and they try to level the playing field.
That'd be
I think
spot
they
on,
should
yeah.
do the same in Speedway.
Love all the
I
racecraft
totally agree.
part and all that, but when these light kids are just going by you on the straight just because of the weight, it's really annoying. Then I have to do all the work on the big bends.
You know, listen, every year between Christmas and New Year, I do an indoor go-karting event. There was 16 of us this year.
Yeah.
Have a good old laugh, go for a curry after and talk about it. Damo, in fact, Damo this year, he was top of the, he was the fastest in one of the races.
So he's a quick lad then. But
well, he wouldn't be able to repeat it though. That's the trouble with Damo.
Yeah, he said he's not got the consistency by the sounds of it. Who's this? Has put fancy a coffee on Thursday morning, Mr. E. Who is
That'll be
that?
Stephen Oliver.
Ah, right, okay.
Yes, if I can get out of bed. I don't normally get up till 9 these days.
What's he put? Mark's just put, apparently George Hunter always had a flat tyre or a breakdown on the way to Exeter. He hated it.
Well, you could get away with it in the olden days, but you can't get away with it now.
No,
it's not there anymore.
No, for sure. Oh, actually, I was going to ask about indoor events, and I just see someone ask me about that as well. Where was it? John Westwood has put, did you enjoy Talford?
Unfortunately not. You know what? I rode in an ice meeting in Switzerland. The only reason I went to this meeting was so I could go to Otterland. So we drove all the way to Switzerland on the boat that sunk, the Zeebrugge. We went on that boat all the way to Switzerland. I went all the way to Germany, and then I rode Kenny McKenna's bike. And after I finished riding his bike, it was about 2 inches shorter. So I didn't really enjoy that. I just rode anybody's bike. I didn't take a bike. I can't remember. I don't think we could. I don't think we could get all the bikes in. So yeah, I didn't enjoy that. And then Telford, no, I didn't enjoy that.
I was just thinking, just while it was in my head as well, because I remember you said Hans Nielsen was the second best rider of all time. So who was your number one best rider of all time?
Well, if I name my riders, I'm naming the riders who I seen, you know, who I watched and who I raced against, and I'm going to have to give the best one to Ivan, because Ivan, he not only won at Speedway, he won at long track, and even he just used to turn up at a grass track once a month and beat all the best grass trackers.
Yeah, he was
class. To do that, you have to be special.
Yeah. And was he one of the riders that you looked up to when you were younger, Neil? He
used to win all the time. There was Ollie Alton and Ivan Major. I didn't really like Ollie because Ollie was a cheat. But they used to win all the time, didn't they? And I like winners.
That's true. Yeah. What's that? He said, Phil's just said, did Neil ever race the indoor one at the London Arena on the concrete thing?
No, I rode at the NEC.
Yeah, that's Birmingham.
There was an international meeting, and then there was England against the rest of the world.
Yeah,
I did okay, but you know, one of the things I did when I rode on the ice, because obviously you don't get much grip. So what I did, I got 2 broken rocker arms, so I made my 4-valve into a 2-valve. But the more laps you did, the faster it got.
I like that. Oh, we've got Phil Kane here. He's just put, "G'day, boys." He's put, "Neil, when you come into Australia?"
Well, you know what? I'm hoping to have a very successful year with my man Jaymon. He gave me this award, top technician, it says. So
Nice.
I'm hoping to have a very good year with him, and I'm hoping his bonus is going to take me to Australia.
Ooh, that'd be good. That'd be good. That'd be good, wouldn't
I haven't mentioned it to him yet.
it? That's part of the deal. You ain't told him that part.
But you know, I would really like to go to Australia. You know, I'd have to go to New Zealand as well because I've got lots of friends there too.
So
I
you've
really
been
would
working.
like to do the Australian Championship. You know, it's like 2 weeks.
That'd be good, wouldn't it? Yeah, that'd be good. Have you? So you said you've been working with. You worked with Sam Masters and obviously Mr. Lindsay. So what are those guys like to work with then? Do they listen?
Jaymon is very professional.
Yeah.
Dave Haynes, he often phones me up, keeps asking me, do I want to do this, do I want to do that? And he phoned me one day, got me out of bed, asked me if I was interested in helping him. And I said, yeah, just give him my phone number and my email and let's start dialogue. And then within 3 minutes, this cheeky kid's smiling at me on the phone. So, yeah, organise it with him. He's very professional. He used to, when I first started helping him, he used to come occasionally to the house, make sure I'm doing things right. But then I like the fact that I just get on. He leaves me to get on with it. He comes to the meeting. I'll see him at the meeting. He does the business. I never thought I'd ever be washing another man's smores, but I have to wash all his kids. I don't even do my own washing.
Do these youngsters know how good a rider you were, Neil? That's the point.
Well, all these kids, they think they're better than you. And they all say, we go faster now. Well, listen, if I was riding today, I would be full gas like I was then. You know, what's the difference? Sometimes it does frustrate because we have some really good kids with talent. And I've been to a few of they used to arrange, I think I've been to Kingston a few times. I've been to Leicester where they have like the younger English riders. They come and they have a ride. And I have to say, it's a bit of a shambles because you get these young kids. They go on the track. They do a wheelie. They go and do a gate. They do 2 laps. They make a mistake. They stop and they go back to the gate, do another start. You know, if you make a mistake in the race, the referee is not going to put the lights on and say to you, "I'll come back to the start. Let's start again." You should be going on the track, doing 4 laps. And let's see these young kids do 4 laps without making a mistake. Who cares about the wheelies? If you win the race, let's do a wheelie. A lot of them, they think more about, you see, going back to my products, I make lots of good things. I've invented quite a few things in my time, but I don't advertise these things. If it's on social media, it's good, it works. If it's not on social media, forget it.
Yeah. Phil said, "I'll get the DD2 ready for you."
Well, I can safely say, due to my condition, somebody said to me about having to go on a road bike the other day, and I said, well, if I had to go on that bike, you'd have to get 2 milk crates because I can't open my legs. I can't cock my leg over a bike anymore. That's why I do the go-kart. It's 4 wheels and it's safer. But I have to say, sometimes they have to help me out.
Because it's very, like you said, very low, isn't it? So it's not easy to get out. Yeah, I've rolled out of a few there. And Darren Wilson also said, "Visit New Zealand, come and stay too."
Yeah, well, if I'm go all that way, I'm pretty confident I will do it all at the same time.
Libby's just said, "Someone has a big birthday this year. You could go for that, Neil."
Well, my daughter, if I have a party, my daughter normally arranges it for me, but she invites most of her friends and a couple of mine.
So it's her own pie, is it?
I can remember taking me out. I can't remember how old I was, but she organised this minibus and all these people. and I was seeing a certain woman at one time. And anyway, that was the only friend I had. They were all my sons and my daughter's friends.
No way.
But they
What are
keep
they
you
like?
young.
What are they like, eh? Mark's just put Scott Nichols wouldn't have been winning 7 British titles against the likes of Neil Evitts caliber.
Yeah, well, you know, you can't really say that. Scott Nichols is one of our greatest riders. I would say, you know, people. This is my opinion. Is you don't have to accept what I say, but you know, Scott Nichols, to me, I'm going to say it. Scott Nichols and Bomber are better riders than what Ty Wolfenden is, but they can't make the gate.
Mm.
If you don't make the gate, you're not going to win a world final.
Mm. Very true.
Billy Hamill, 10 times better rider than Greg Hancock, but he was only world champion once, and that is because his mindset was different to what Greg's is. You know, I'm not taking anything away from Greg Hancock. He's a fantastic rider, and to carry on as long as what he did, you know, hats off to him. But you know, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think that was my uncle Martin Ashby's problem as well. He was a great rider, always had a 10.5 point average for many, many years, but his thing was starting. He never used to make starts either. So when you get, like you said, all on the same level at a world meeting, and then you can't afford to leave them 10 yards behind, can you, off the start?
When you look at a rider like Bobby Schwartz, you know, I've seen Bobby Schwartz win every race for 6 meters. He got a 21 point maximum, but when it was individual, he couldn't do it. I don't know why. He couldn't do it individually. I hope he's not watching. He might not talk to me again.
I've actually got his number. I've been trying to get hold of him because I'd love to get him on. That'd be fun. Justin Walker's put, I wore a pair of Neil's levers for Milton Keynes press and practice in 1992. I think he bet me that I couldn't get into them.
Well, that's another story I can't remember. But Justin, you know, he used to live locally to you know, literally 3/4 of a mile from where I used to live. And in fact, on a Wednesday night, I used to go and see a young girl when I was at school, and she used to live by him. And his dad was always doing his bike. I think he was the Craigie mascot at the time.
Okay. So obviously representing Team GB, and I'm sure you were appointed captain as well. What did that mean to you then, Neil?
Well, you know, you can't get no better than riding for your country, don't you? You know, you never really got paid a lot of money, but you know, if I was selected to ride, I didn't care about the money. I just went and rode. You know, Eric Bucock and Colin Pratt, I think they were probably the team managers the most when I was at my best riding for England, and they were a great team. Sometimes I can always remember riding for Bradford. We used to have Bobby Am and Alan Am, and they used to come in the changing rooms and give us a football pep talk before the meeting. And some of us, we used to say, "What are they talking about?" Because they, you know, they're footballers, and they're talking like you're going out to play football. But sometimes, personally, I didn't really like to do too much talking. I got my mindset. I like to do what I do or what I did. But, you know, sometimes you get a team manager who says things to you and you think, shut up. But Colin Pratt, unfortunately, he's no longer with us, and Eric, that they were really good. Obviously, ex-riders. Colin was very dry. Eric Bucock's got a good sense of humour, so they kind of hit it off, and you felt good when you were racing for them.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it? Well, we miss all the test matches that you guys usually would have them with the Americans and Swedes and Denmark and USA, obviously, as well. They were great times as well. I remember watching loads of them.
They had some great riders, didn't they, America? Well, everybody's had great riders, but now, unfortunately, those riders are just not around anymore.
No. I'm going to put you on the spot now and say, oh, hello. I'm not sure who that was, but Ellis says, good evening, Kim O'Sabi.
Is that Ellis Burks?
I'm not sure. There's no name on it, but it just says Ellis says good evening, Kim Osabi.
Well, Ellis Burks, I used to call him Kimasabi.
Did you? I might be there. That's got to be there. Good. That's brilliant. Right. I was going to ask you, what would be your favourite 1 to 7 of team riders that you raced with in your career?
That is something I've never really thought about, but I can probably tell you my all-time top 7, which would be Ivan, Hans, Tony Rickardson,
Yeah.
Michael Lee,
Yeah.
Dave Jessup, Kelly Moran, and I probably might put myself in there for the good laugh.
That's some team that is. I've actually got Michael Lee up on the wall there somewhere. I'd love to get him.
Michael Lee, seeing Michael Lee, I remember going to White City and seeing this kid. He had like bad teeth, cross earring, long hair, untidy like myself. He was only about 18, and he was beating the best riders in the world. Just natural.
That was Robert Perks, apparently.
Robert Perks, yeah. Well, obviously that's Ellis's dad. Robert.
This is dad, yeah.
He used to do a little bit of grass track when we were kids.
Yep.
He lived local to me, so that's how I know Robert, and that's how I got to help Ellis Burks a little bit.
I've just got on there as well. Paul Hinton put, "Hi Lee and Neil. I have watched a lot of these live chats, and Neil is the most interesting yet. What a great character."
Checks in the post, is it?
Yeah. I was going to say there's definitely going to be a demand for a part 2. How are you at the moment? How do you feel, Neil?
No, I've really enjoyed it. This is something that I've never really been comfortable with. I don't know why. I never watch myself on TV. I've got about 4 or 5 DVDs which Jan Steckman sent to me, which he's taken over some video things, and I can honestly tell you, I've never watched them.
No way. I have to come round, Neil. Stick them on.
Well, I can send them to you.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, definitely.
You can have a look at them for me.
Yeah, I will, and I'll let you know.
If I win, send them back.
Yeah,
I'll watch it.
Neil Howlett here has just put, "Top man Neil, great guy, and love his stories and his product never fail."
Well, I have a product which he should have collected before Christmas. He's paying stories as we speak.
Oh, there you go, Neil. Better get that sorted. Was there ever any engines and stuff? Like I've heard a load of the guys. I know you mentioned about bikes earlier as well. Did a lot of the guys have? He's just put, "I'll call you tomorrow." By the way,
he said that last week.
Yeah. Is it one of them? Is it? Oh, next.
He said that last year.
Yeah, last year. That was before Christmas.
Now, he is a good man, and I have to say, he's helped me a couple of times, not being able to push. If I push the riders, it takes me like 2 or 3 days to get over it. So a couple of times he has stepped in for me. So I'm very appreciative, and I'm only having a joke about the storage. Storage is free.
Classic. Did the riders have, a lot of riders have names as well, don't they, for engines and stuff like that as well? Like, do they have like favourites and certain names for engines and all that?
Well, you always have a favourite engine because you never get 2 faces the same. But
what were some of your names? What were some of your names?
Well, I never named my engines, but I always used to put that. I always had to put the aluminium plate in, and I always used to put a smiley face, and that is to do with Avalok, because the rave scene, Avi was a bit of a raver. He liked his nights out and things. So if I did the engine and I did the top job, you always had a smiley face, and that was for Havelock.
I like that.
In fact, you know what? There's a man in New Zealand, Kane Dunlop. He worked for me 1 year.
Yeah.
He's just restored a bike. I had to send him a couple of things, and one of them was an aluminium plate. There's another man in Australia. He bought a bike off me years ago. He sold it. He's recently, a year ago, bought it back, and he's restored it. And I had to make one of them aluminium plates. In fact, that plate, I think it had NE on. So I had to make him that plate, chain oilers, and a few other things I had to send to Australia.
Nice. Oh, what's John Boston put here? John's just put, how long did he ride the PPT engines for?
Oh, I never rode a PPT engine. I had a go on them. We did a test at Birmingham, but I think at that time he chose Sean Moran to ride the engine. But Sean Moran, I don't think he didn't really race it. I mean, he was very similar to a Westlake.
Just see a picture.
He did do a few engines. He did a few of my Westlake engines actually, yeah, because he used to be in Worcester somewhere. So yeah, a couple of years I think I used him. What
about superstitions, Neil? Did you have any weird and wonderful ones?
I never liked green.
Didn't you?
And if my mother wore green, or I always used to crash. If my mum was wearing green, I would have a crash.
So
that's
this
my only
picture
really
here,
thing.
I've got a nice picture here. So this was a bit too close, really, to Wiggy, wasn't it? With the because he was one man that did love the green.
Yes, well, somebody's got to like green. The world would be boring if we all liked green.
Yeah, exactly. So that was it then, just the green.
Yes, that's all. I wasn't a fan of green. But to be honest with you, now, like Jamon, he comes to my house. I've never met him. He brings all his stuff over, and he's got all these lovely green dusters.
Oh, no.
And I never use the dusters. I never use the rags. And he said to me, "Why didn't you bring a rag or something?" And I said, "Because I don't like green." And he ended up bringing me some blue ones.
So he learned that pretty quickly. Then that was good. What about this? Is I'd like to ask a couple of funny ones. What were the best and worst changing rooms in the British Speedway? There's got to be some.
Well, I started at Stoke, as you know, and they used to have one big changing room with a checkered floor.
Okay.
And I've been to Stoke a few times, but obviously, if I'm not helping anybody, I don't go in the pits. I go to watch the speedway and observe. Yeah. And I went to the very last meeting at Stoke when obviously it was going to close, and I went in the change rooms, and I haven't been in them change rooms since about 1981. And this time it had a partition in the middle, and it still had the checkered floor from all those years ago.
No way.
I was talking the other day, I rode at Brisbane Exhibition Ground, and they had like a bit of a cattle market, and there was live animals there and things, and we had a shower, and you had like this great big, I don't know how many litres or gallons it was, container on the roof, which was rainwater.
Yeah.
And it had a great big shower head and this green canvas sheet, but you could only one have a shower at a time because one had to pull the chain.
Oh my God!
Stood in the shower.
Oh Jesus!
Now they were pretty poor changing rooms, but you know, who cares? You go, you get your gear on, and out you go.
Actually, a few of the riders did mention to me, now I've just come into my head, a few of the riders did mention how good that Bradford's were, because it was obviously a rugby thing and all that, so their changing rooms were pretty good. Is that
yeah,
right?
very good changing rooms. We had like a fitness, like massagey bench, not that we ever had, and in the showers was good. Everything was good.
Very nice. Did you have any favourite leathers that you wore over your career? I think you did touch it. You did.
My favourite leathers were the ones I wore in 1987, I think. They were black, white, down the sides, white sleeves with orange. They were my favourite leathers.
What are these ones like? Is that
not those ones? No.
Trying to find.
There were some pictures on there.
Yeah. I probably have got one here somewhere as well.
There's one picture. I'm on the front of the Speedway Star, and it says Commonwealth Final. I'm wearing those leathers there. I always used to have white boots and a white helmet.
Mm.
In fact, I only ever had one flashy helmet. The Americans used to call me Neil the Wheel. So I had this helmet all painted Neil the Wheel. I wore it once. Those were the leathers.
Yeah,
I wore it once, and I crashed in the second half final.
Mm.
I never wore it again.
Yeah. You didn't wear it again then?
Never wore it again. It was one of them Nava helmets, and it had Neil the Wheel on the back and some stuff.
What about riders' favourite to team ride with over the years?
You know, my best thing that I can really remember when Larry Ross came to Halifax and Bradford. Yep. I was number one, he was number two. And me and him had a very good understanding. We kind of knew, not every time, we scored a lot of 5-1s. We knew where we were going to be. And a lot of the times, I always used to give him choice of gate in the first race, because he always used to say he was taking a bit of an advantage. Obviously, he was getting a little bit older, going a little bit down.
Mm. So you always got on well with him as well, then?
I enjoyed racing with Peter Carr as well. We had some good times.
Mm.
Larry Ross is definitely. In fact, you mentioned that. You know, when I first started, the first rider to really help me on the track was Les Rumsey. He come to Wolverhampton. He was a number 3, I think. He was a good rider in the second division. And if I made the gate, he would ride with me. He wouldn't overtake me. He used to ride with me. And the same when I was at Birmingham with Koinimi. Koinimi was the same.
Yeah, I remember when he came to Swindon as well, Koinimi. He was a good rider, wasn't he?
He was a very good rider, and he was probably better individually than what he was team. You know, it's like Mitch Shearer, Koinimi. They were riders who they were probably better individually. They made a lot of world finals.
Mm. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, and some of them just did it the other way around, like you said, Bobby Swartz. Yeah, some of them just didn't do it on certain times, did they? On the individuals.
Sometimes the pressure gets them.
Yeah, for sure. What about your Sheffield days?
For Sheffield, I was forced to ride to Sheffield. Not that it really mattered. I liked the track because there wasn't a team place for me at Bradford. So yeah, I had 2 years at Sheffield, 2 very good years. The first year wasn't as successful as the second year. The second year, I only lost 1 race all year. But the first season I rode at Sheffield, I was doing a lot of engines, helping a lot of people. And Stefan Dano, he made it to his first world final. He used to come to my house. I did his engine. He used to come to my house, and he used to rent one of my engines for 50 quid. Qualified for his world final, and for the world final, he rented 2 engines off me. So the first year I rode at Sheffield, I didn't always have my best engine. I did the same with Ollie Turavainen.
Yeah.
He used to use my best engine. So that first year, I didn't always have my best engine.
Did that ever come a cropper with you lent out a top engine and something went wrong with it? Or?
Well, not really, because you know an engine has a certain lifespan. Of course, you can't help it when something breaks. Giuseppe Mazzotto, he gave me this Conrad. I was at Otto Lantonhammers. He gave me this Conrad. He said, "This is the business. This lightweight, blah 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 blah." It lasted 9 races. It snapped at Sheffield.
Yeah.
Broke the ignition box. I think my dad took my engine back to Otto's, and then I collected it the weekend. I can't remember, but anyway, repaired it all with another new Conrad, the best Conrad. And that lasted 9 races again. Snapped, but this time it wrote the engine off Otto. He had to weld it all up. And Giuseppe gave me a new engine. but
Yeah.
it was never any good. And the following year, he gave me another engine to compensate what happened. But
Yeah.
you know,
Not
that
the same.
those things you just can't plan for those things.
Yeah. Did you try any other motorsports, Neil? Did you do you like the road racing and all that? Do you watch all that MotoGP,
Now,
F1 and
I
all
used
this
to
stuff?
watch it when Carl Fogarty, of course, you
Yeah,
know,
I did. Yeah.
massive fan of Barry Sheen. You know, in the European Under-21, my first race, I broke my scaphoid. That picture, which is the only picture I've never seen before, and you can see me on the rostrum at the end, and I'm holding my arm in my leathers like that, and I duct taped my arm, my wrist up, and obviously carried on riding. That was something I learned off Barry Sheen.
Proper support.
You got to
Used to
do
love
what
it.
you got to do.
Got to do what you got to do. Yeah, I always never forget the old duck on the front of the helmet and all that. And
Well, duct tape was very, very useful.
oh, who were your close? Who were your closest friends during your speedway career? Then, Neil, who were the closest riders that you were closest to? And
Well, as
what
I
was
say,
that?
I've been a lifelong friend of Peter Carr's. We still speak occasionally. Obviously, he
Yeah,
lives in Preston, which is a long way away.
yeah.
I met him a couple of years ago. He drives a lorry. He came past us. We had a cappuccino on the McDonald's car park. You're putting me on the spot here. You know, I can go away now and think about that. You know, Larry
Yeah.
Ross, I had some great times with Larry Ross. I spent a bit of time with him. I stayed with him in New Zealand.
Yeah,
Got on very well. Ollie Turavane, he was a great mate, such a good character. Toured on 2 tours, Ivan's tours with him. Carsten Peltzman, you know, I met him in, I think I met him in Australia, and I was the best man at his wedding. His son's middle name is my name. I made all these Germans laugh at the wedding when I did my speech.
did you?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I didn't do the speech. I got somebody to do it for me.
Oh, did you? So they got the laugh, but you wrote it.
Yeah, but it was funny. You know, I don't know if he's watching now, but
Yeah.
I went skiing with him once. His nan used to live at the bottom of a mountain in Austria, and I went skiing with him a couple of times. And this place was that old. His nan used to live downstairs, and it had like an upstairs, and that's where his parents or whoever used to go. But you had to have you had to light the log fire to warm the water up, and it had a balcony all the way around. And we'd been skiing all day, drinking, having a laugh, and then he decided to be Eddie the Eagle. And this balcony is 10 foot high, and there's about 4 foot of snow in the garden underneath. And he says he's going to jump. He's sitting there in his boxer shorts. He's got a vest on, and he's got a helmet like Chubby Brown. And I can't remember, I think his mate was named Chomp. So they got the skis, they put the skis on the table and on the balcony, and he was going to jump off the balcony into this snow. And my friend Phil Pickering was with me, and he goes downstairs to take a photograph of this. And he jumped off the balcony. He went down like a ton of bricks. But when he went down, he must have hit his lip on his boots, and then he flew back like that. I've got a picture somewhere. And he's lying in the snow. We can't stop laughing. We're all drunk. And the blood is coming out of his eye. He had to have about 6 stitches in his lip.
No.
We went night clubbing after that. And then the following day, he had to have the stitches in his lip.
Because I suppose that looked 10 times worse with the blood in the snow as well.
We don't really care, to be honest. He's German, and who cares?
Hope Peter Schrott's still not on.
We all friends now.
We're all friends now. I'm going to try and, I need to get in on that one. What's this picture from here then? This is this the one you...
That's the one I've never seen.
Yeah.
That is the European World Under-21.
Yeah.
First race, broke my scaphoid.
Bloody hell. And then you taped it up. Barry Sheen style.
Well, we were men back in those days.
Oh, of course, yeah. 100%. Gladiators, we call them.
Yes.
Proper. There's a nice picture of at Reading. That don't know if you're on the wrong side of that.
Well, I'm at the back there, so I'm not really liking that photo.
Dave Mullet and Tony Olsen, I reckon that is as well, isn't it?
Skeletor, we used to call Tony Olsen.
Brilliant. I emailed him the other day and he was like, oh, I don't really want to do one yet at the moment. I've asked him for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I haven't seen him for a few years. I have seen
No.
him on my travels.
Yeah, since he left the GPs and stuff. And Jesus Christ, it's incredible. Any regrets at all from your Speedway career, as in, was there meetings that you feel that you should have won, but you didn't, or wished you'd rode for any teams that you didn't, or rode for teams that you wish you hadn't? Any sort of regrets at all?
Not really, because life is life. You know, life is what you make of it, and of course, sometimes I wish I hadn't have fell off. I wish I hadn't have broken that bone. But you know, I say to my children all the time, if they have half the life I have had, they'll be very lucky.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't really change anything. You know, the most disappointing time was after the Intercontinental final, when that happened with that bozo. You know, it should never have happened. And if that happened today, you know, Michael Lee was banned for 5 years for turning round and riding up the inside of the track to go to back to the starting gate.
Mm.
And what he did, if that happened today, I reckon he would have been banned for a year.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So the following day, that was my most disappointing. My most disappointing time in Speedway. That was I should have been in Germany that day, and I ended up catching the aeroplane with Colin Pratt and Eric Bucock.
Someone just said as well, don't forget, basically saying on the riders then that he's saying Kenny Carter obviously won with his broken leg and the boot thing on, and he had and all that as well.
Listen, we have got some very good riders out there, but I never really walk around the track, because the track is the track. You know, you attack it and that's it. But a lot of these riders, sometimes they go around the track and they come back and they just rubbish everything. Well, you know, if it's going to upset you that bad, don't walk around the track.
Yeah. A lot of it's in the head, as you say, as well, Neil, don't you? You can put yourself off and all that, yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand it.
You need to attack it, otherwise it attacks you, as they would say at motocross as well.
That's exactly right. And I should have had a testimonial. I never had a testimonial. That is also very disappointing.
Yeah, it is, because all the years you did in British Speedway as well. I'm shocked, actually, a few of when I've spoke to Andy Graham, like he never had one either, and it's like,
well, I don't know why he never had one, but I know why I never had one, and it was totally wrong.
Just going to put yes, John Larson here has just put, hi Neil, have you ever driven in Denmark? I presume he means riding.
Have I ever driven?
Does he mean riding or driving?
I've ridden lots of Danish tracks. Went on an English tour, rode at Voyens probably about 8 times. Always rained at Voyens. In fact, I think only one time I rode at Voyens, it never rained. It rained that bad the one time. They had steam cleaners in the pits, so you came in off the track and they steam cleaned everything because you was that dirty.
Do you enjoy racing abroad in general, like Sweden, Poland, all that? And you said
I never rode for a Swedish club. I did try a few times to get a Swedish club, but I'll be honest, I could never get enough money out of them, so I never did. Of course, I rode in lots of individual meetings, but in my day, all the big meetings and the money was always in Germany, long track, grass track. Oh yeah, my 7th rider is Egon Muller.
Ah, right, yeah, you like Egon. Remember, was it 83 when the world final, wasn't it?
It was about that time, yes. But, you know, I've been to lots of meetings in Germany, and grass track, speedway, long track. He used to just turn up and I've seen him turn up, not even practice. They always used to keep a place for him in the pits turn up. I've even seen him put his leathers on over his clothes and just get on and win.
Unreal. Gary Stead just said, me too, and I never got my percentages. That's British Speedway. Hashtag testimonial. More like that now, Neil.
Well, listen, that's all us people who didn't get what we should have got. Let's get together and we'll have our own meeting.
That'd be good. Yes. Good shout. I could do the social media side of things.
Have you seen what time it is? I'm on double time now.
Yeah.
Since my operation, I've been going to bed at 5 o'clock. I like to get 10 and 12 hours where I've got no weight on my hips.
I appreciate your time, Neil, and like I said, I know that you're still recovering as well from your operation, so I do appreciate it. It's been really enjoyable. Everyone's loved it. It's still like well over 100 people on live now, which a lot of them are not on that just at the start as well. So I think there was nearly 200 on live at one point as well. So everyone's loving it. I will get this out there as well. They've got to tell them to watch it. It's been very, very good, and we're going to have to do a part 2. So hopefully,
I'll make you a promise.
go on.
I'll talk to you at the end of the season.
Brilliant. That'd be great. I appreciate that. That'd be spot on.
Right.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Neil.
It's been
really
a pleasure.
appreciate it. Hope to see you at Oxford or somewhere, hopefully soon. And we'll have a quick catch up. I know you'll be working, so I won't be able to take too much of your time, but definitely grab a photo with a legend.
As long as I'm fit enough, I'll be there.
Top man. Much appreciated, Neil. Absolute legend. Really enjoyed it.
No worries. I'll talk to you soon.
Speak to you soon, Neil. Keep in touch.
Thanks.
Cheers, buddy. What a legend. Neil Evitts. Absolutely. Oh, I've just brought you back in there. Sorry, mate. Absolute legend. Really enjoyed that. I can see you all enjoyed that. Definitely going to have to do a part 2, and you all heard that as well. We'll hold him to it. We'll hold you to that, Neil. Be great to have another chat with him at the end of the season for sure. I don't think I went through half of my questions. If I see that you guys have got your questions down, I just try to go over it. And some of the comments, there's been mental amount of comments. I had a job to see a lot of them. Plus, just at the wrong moment, I dropped my flipping mouse thing, a little mouse thing, and the bit there in the middle, you just do that, scroll it up and down, broke. So I couldn't even scroll up and down like you just, do the whole like that. I have to go and get one of them. That's annoying. That threw me. Thanks for coming on, Gary. We're going to need to hook up a date, my man. We need to hook up a date. Are you going to the celebration of Speedway at the old museum and stuff, Gary? Be good to meet you in person. We've had a few chats and that, and I'd love to get you on an interview, obviously, whenever you're ready. Be awesome to get you on. Thanks, Barney, my friend. Seeing Barney at Eastbourne on Saturday. If anyone's going down to the Eastbourne Supporters Day, 6 p.m. at the club down there. It's on Facebook. Check it out. Go on the Eastbourne page. It's all on there, all the details. Hopefully see a few of you guys down there. I'm sure me and Barney will be doing selfies galore. I've even got a gadget now, Barney. Got a gadget. Not a selfie one as such. It's like, you press the button and it moves around and that. It's like quite high tech. So I don't know how I'm going to get on with that. It's more for like filming, and then, like it sort of steadies itself and you can like press the button and center it again and all this. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether to bring it at the weekend and play with it or not. It might be a little bit too, might need to practice with that first. Thank you very much, everyone that's been on. Hopefully that's a good thing then, John. Thank you very much. Oh, thanks, Andrew. I don't do anything Speedway anymore, but I enjoyed that. Top man, Andrew. Really enjoyed that one, Neil. Been chasing him for a while. That was why I was laughing when he said, because obviously I went to Oxford and I didn't have a clue who was going to be there or anything. And I didn't know that Neil was mechanicking. And I spotted him. I was in the pits and I was actually talking to Sam Masters and Louis Kerr, actually. And then I looked to my right like that and I just locked eyes with Neil. And I seen him almost do that. He clocked me and went something like that, and he went, I will do one day. I was like, you knew what I was going to ask before I even asked, didn't you? Because I'd already been chasing him, and I hadn't seen anything of Neil anywhere, so that's pretty cool to get him on an interview for sure. And he was a great rider, and I'd love to do that. So we're going to do the part 2 at the end of the season. You all heard that. It's on here, it'll be recorded, so I could be done for harassment from many riders. Secret stalker of all. Oh yeah, I heard about that. That's a not great planning, is it? Because aren't they actually sponsoring that? That's a bummer, that, isn't it? So I need to go to that again as well, because I went quite a while ago. That was now. I went to one at Birmingham when Hans Anderson was coming to Swindon. I think it was like 2012, because I remember taking my Sophie, and she was quite young then. So now she's like 21. We were in house. Thank you very much, whoever that was. Will we need a season ticket for Oxford in the Prem? It's going to be busy up there, I reckon. Free teams. Can't beat a selfie, my friend, I know. I do like to get a few going. I've been a bit slack lately. I even went to that motocross at Monster Mountain and like only did one. I was like, what? I'm losing it. Barney's the king of the selfies. I can't compete with him on selfies, but I love a selfie so I can keep it for life. Got plenty with Barney. Thanks, Justin, for coming on as well. Thanks, buddy. It's good with sharing the memories and everything, wasn't it? Yeah, I've had so many conversations about this, Rob. Doing like a reunion like I do for Motocross Speedway and stuff like that. And I know there's a few riders that Andy Graham didn't get a testimonial. I didn't realise that Neil didn't have one, and I didn't realise that Gary didn't have one. There's a few needs to be put right on that, really, isn't it? You are so cool, Mr. Wilson. That man gave me a live little tour around his garage, and that is very cool. We'll have to have a good chat on here, won't we? That was cool to get a private little tour around the Wilson establishment there. In New Zealand as well, and it was a good little reception as well, wasn't it? It was good. I'm trying to get Jeremy McGrath on, Darren. You need to like hook him up. I keep messaging him on Instagram and he keeps looking at my messages, and I'm thinking just one day he's going to take a bite. That's what my plan is. I've done all sorts of summer riders. I remember like I messaged Stefan Evitts for a year and then he replied eventually, and then that was one of my first big ones I did on Skype. It was like face to face, just us, no fans, no nothing. It was like I was absolutely shitting myself. I literally felt like I was going to pass out before I went on. But obviously, as you know, I'm a bit of a fan of you all. Yep, steer steady. Thanks, Mark, for coming on, buddy. Yeah, please, mate. I did drop the picture in once on the thing, you know, like where you sorted him out and got him at the Speedway and all that, and I was saying that I knew you, and I did try to name drop, and I put the picture of him and then there racing the Speedway that you showed me and all that, but he's just not answered anything yet. I've had Jim Holly. You probably know the Jim Holly, the American as well. He's sorted me out quite a few cool things. Yeah, he tried to get hold of McGrath at one point. Yes, definitely want to get Jimmy Nielsen, Paul. Like I said, I didn't. To start with, it was like a bit of a thing. I didn't get a lot of the ex-Swindon riders because I thought everyone would think I'd just be biased. So now it's gone completely twofold. Now I think I've done Roscoe, Brian Carger, Lee Adams, but I've actually not done many. Well, John Davis is obviously a former one as well, but I've not actually done that many Swindon riders now. I nearly had Phil Crump when his phone didn't work on the night. I've still got to chase that up because obviously he was one of my first heroes, Phil Crump. I suppose Jason Crump was ex-Swindon as well. Did that one season in the second division at the time. I have spoke to Jason as well. I'm going to do a live with him because I did a Skype with him. So obviously it wasn't with the fans. So it'd be cool to get Jason on live with the fans. So definitely going to do that with him. Jimmy Nielsen, obviously that terrible tragedy happened with his son in America. So obviously that was a massive thing why I've not chased Jimmy for a good year or so now. Just, you know, it was such sad news. I couldn't ask him about a flipping interview. So yeah. I don't know about that. I know he does like swimming pools, some stuff to do with swimming pools and stuff like that in America, I think. Like, not sure if he has anything to do with building them or anything like that. Well done, Lee. These winters are hard work. Yeah. I also chased Nicky Pedersen for about 3 or 4 years now since I've started. Oh, I've had a text off Andy Graham and I haven't quoted it highly. Highly, I was enjoying the interview with Neil. When he started at Birmingham Speedway, he was 16, and his pride and joy at the time was a black Simpson helmet. And I believe the Mini he had a crash in was his girlfriend at the time, Debbie, was a bridesmaid at Gio and my wedding. The crash was a week before, January 1984. Always got on good with Neil, character of our great sport. Of our great sport. A great interview. What a legend, Andy Graham. There's been a hell of a lot of riders on tonight, which is pretty cool, isn't it? Oh, property management. But I know he's doing something to do with swimming pools at one point, but I don't know how long ago that was now. Someone's just asked me about JMB. Yes, messaged him again today. So hopefully I'll have a date for that soon. Hopefully that'd be mega, wouldn't it? Just to let you all know, look, Motocross and Spear Memories on YouTube. Like you said, you can. There's 231 interviews on there now. It's getting some going now, isn't it? Over the last 3 or 4 years since the COVID or whatever it's been. No problem, whoever that is. But yeah, get on there. It's free to subscribe on my YouTube channel, and you won't miss anything. Everything's recorded onto there. So tomorrow I'll put this recording out there. If any of you want to share it, share it on your Facebooks or anything like that, social media is always appreciated. So it just basically gets it out there more to the fans. Is always good. But yeah, there's so many on there now. For the Speedway fans, check out. I don't know if you knew that I did Hans Nielsen last week. Did my third one with John Davis, is crazy. Bert Harkins, Rory Sline, Billy Hamill, Barry Briggs, Mike Broadbank, Bruce Cribb, Rick Miller, Neil Middleditch, Marvin Cox, Steve Schofield, Martin Dugard, Alan Rossiter, Bruce Pennell, Graham Jones, Sean Tacey, Jeremy Doncaster, Peter Collins, Sam Masters, Nigel Crabtree, Doug Wire, Jano Pedersen, Gary Havelock, Chris Morton, Calvin Tatum, Lance King with a guest appearance from Bruce Pennell, John Davis, the one before that, Brian Carger, Barney Kennett, Jan Anderson, Alan Graham, which was amazing to do before he had that tragic accident, Sean McConnell, Mikael Max, Samar Malenko, Ollie Olsen, did a couple with Ollie, Peter Colson, Luke Becker, Bradley Wilson-Dean, you've seen Darren on here tonight, Darcy Ward was a really cool one, Joe Screen, Chris Louis and Jeremy Doncaster together, Greg Hancock, Lawrence Hare, Paco Castagna with meeting his hero Stefan Evitts on the live, that was cool, Alf Busk, seen him on there tonight as well, Alan Carter, Kenny Carter's brother, Bruce Pennell and Eric Gunderson together. Go and check them all out. Christmas special, John Davis, Dennis Cigarlos, Middleditch and the Cobra. Ollie Olsen, Per Jonsson, Eric Gunderson, Hans Nielsen, Chris Morton. I've done 2 with each of them. Ollie Allen, Simon Cross. That's one I've got to revisit because Simon Cross's internet wasn't very good at the time because he's over in France, but he said he's got super duper Wi-Fi now. So be good to go and see the man Psycho himself. Paul Hurry, seen him on here tonight. That was a great interview. John Davis, Mark Laram, Ronnie Corrie, Andy Graham was my first live. And then there was like videos with Skypes, which was just one-on-one and then shared it. I did one with Todd Wilkshire, Martin Slowinski, who took me around his workshop, Martin Dugard, Chris Harris. Did a 2-part with Scott Nichols, got to do a live with him and Harris, that I've been speaking to about that. Lee Adams, I did a Skype with Hans Nielsen as well. Bruce Pennell, Roscoe, Jason Crump, So yeah, you can all watch them in your own time as well, which is always good. You can just pause it where you left it if you watch it in bed on an iPad, like I always do every night. Not mine, I'm on about just in general. Oh, I'd love to do Terry Betts. So a couple of times I've tried to get a contact for him. So if anyone's got a contact for Terry Betts, please hook me up. That would be great. I'd love to do him. Also, I've been trying to get a contact for Dave Jessup as well. So if anyone could hook me up with a Dave Jessup contact, as I said, I spoke not long ago to Neil Collins. He was just gone on holiday. So I've got Neil Collins coming on. Obviously, I'm doing Phil Collins on the 18th of February, I think it is. Yeah, a week this Sunday. 18th of February is our plan for Phil Collins. That's to be around another singer before you say it. Who else did I speak to? That was a motocross man, JMB, Grant Langston. That was motocross. Who else have I spoken to? Oh, I was going to try and get on. I messaged, got his number as well when I got Floppy a video for his birthday. Was Sean Wilson. Sean the Prawn Wilson. That was it, wasn't it? Sean the Prawn. So I spoke to him, like to get him on. Also, Hans Anderson, as you might have all just seen, that he just retired. I'm trying to get him on as well. And obviously, as you all know, I've been chasing Floppy for a while. I will continue that chase. So hopefully I can get him on. I spoke to Dean Barker as well. I'm going to try and get him on as well. Phil Morris. I did have a good chat with Phil Morris. I saw him at the Cardiff GP and I seen him. What was our last message? Just seen it there. Look. So that was Friday, the 26th of January. I messaged him. Do one, but next 3 or 4 weeks are crazy. So I said I was going to contact him in March. So hopefully I'll get hold of Phil Morris for an interview. It'd be good. I'm doing a part 2 with Calvin Tatum. I've already spoke to him about that. Who else have I spoken to? Loads of them. Jason Crump. I spoke to Jason Crump, trying to get him on a date. Not literally a date, but well, I don't mind going on here with him Valentine's night, but I think I'll dedicate that to my Laney New that night. Yes, that'd be amazing because I know for a fact that one of my mum's crushes was Terry Betts as well. Just messaged Dean Barker about if he was going Sunday, and he said he hopes to, but I know his dad's not very well, so much love sent to Dean Barker for that, and possibly mate see him on Saturday. Be nice to meet him if we do, but totally get that obviously his dad's not very well. So much love to them guys. So yeah. Phil Alkin has sent me the Stoke changing rooms. And apparently I've still got the same checkered floor. Here we go. I don't know if you can see it with the light. I'll try and do it. Oh, so I've got to do it that way. And there you go. There's the same checkered floor in the Stoke. I'll tell you what, some of the change rooms in the Speedway is absolutely horrendous. I would kick off if I went in that one, and it was for one of my football teams over the years when I was doing that for 16, 17 years. I'd go mad if we went into a change room like that. It's been like that since then. Jesus Christ. I may or may not have caught my foot in a door or two at football. Oh dear. So yeah, much love to you all. As I always leave all my live interviews with my old man saying, which I'm going to try and get a couple of hoodies made of that as well, with the logo that Mr. Pat Stott did for me. That was really cool. Which I'd got my thing up the other day. I don't know if anyone's seen it. Oh, where is it? There it is. There was my dad's thing that he got it made. He designed it, look, and he just put, it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. My dad used to keep saying that to me on his sort of final couple of years. He always used to say that to me, which was just something that's always stayed in my head and not forgotten. So we always quote that at the end of each interview. We've got to keep that going, eh? Much love to you all. Don't forget, I'm back on here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. live UK time with Steve Bishop. And I don't know if you saw the auction we did last week, but I know he wants to thank everyone that got involved. It was amazing. We raised over £3,000 this live auction for his son Sam Bishop, so it was amazing. Couldn't have believed it. First ever live auction online. That was good fun as well. So like I said, hope to do one instead of doing some of my competitions because I've got quite a bit of stuff to do, speedway competitions and some motocross competitions. I might just actually do a live auction instead, because I think it'd be a bit more fun. I'll try and get Mum and I get a number for Terry Betts. Thank you very much, whoever that is. But yeah, I'm looking for a Dave Jessup contact and Terry Betts. Who else? I'll let you know. Got a lot of contacts now, which is I still buzz over all the people that are in my phone. If I lost my phone, I'd literally have a heart attack. But yeah, it's just like you said, it's just get one contact from another and things like that. So hopefully, fingers crossed, keep that going. Much love to you all. See you tomorrow night. Peace out. Let's go and have some late tea. Some normal for me. Much love to you all, and yeah, I'll see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. UK time if you're going to come and see Mr. Bishop. Thanks for everyone that come on. Much love to you all.